Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We're coming to you mid-afternoon on a Monday here, fresh off an atmospheric river that just absolutely came down around us and flooded out many of our neighborhoods. Man, it was really ugly. There should not be allowed to be that much rain coming out of clouds in the sky, and holy crap, I feel bad for people on the North Shore and Coquitlam, parts of Burnaby. It was rough out there this weekend.
It was amazing. Like for myself, I don't know about you, but this weekend I really took it easy.
Yeah.
I did not go outside because I remember I think it was Friday night. I'm like, it is coming down hard, man. Like I was just like, well, guess what? I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. And it was only, I think it was Saturday evening. A friend of mine was like, have you seen all the flooding that's going on? This was my response. I'm like, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, right.
I didn't know anything. Like I was
No.
just like, nah, man, I've been in my bubble. I've been safe, so I don't know what you're talking about. So, and then so he started sending me a bunch of TikTok, and I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't believe it. My
Yeah.
jaw dropped. I was just like, I knew it was raining hard. I didn't think it was raining that hard.
Yeah,
I had
no, it was
no idea.
no, it
Maple
was
Ridge
bad.
flooded out, Langley, Surrey, Deep Cove,
Yeah.
West Vancouver, North. Like I was just, wow,
Yeah.
blew
No,
me
it
away.
got nuts up there. I was texting quite a bit with Scott Holborn, and he lives
Yeah.
over in Deep Cove now, and it was so bad there. I think one of the houses actually like got washed away. Somebody got killed because their house got just completely washed right away. And I heard there's a guy missing. He was standing too close to some flooding or a river and got swept away. And there was some brutal video. Yeah, Scott said his backyard is just a complete lake, and he said it was rough as hell over there. And yeah, I heard from a bunch of others. People started sending me videos and things, and holy crap, I was like, no, let's just hunker down inside here. Lots of sports to watch, lots of
Yeah.
food to eat, so we're good.
Yeah.
Um, the BC election is still not determined, figured out. That was big topic of conversation with a lot of people over the last few days. Conservatives came from, I think they had something like 4% 4 years ago in voters, and all of a sudden have really come onto the scene lately here. It looks like they're going to fall one, 2 seats short of getting into power. So NDP looks like they're going to have power with the Greens. They're going to combine it, and they're going to have a government. It's going to be hard to govern over the next 4 years because most things that they bring up will be shot down by this being such it not really being even a majority and being so damn close. But they think that it's going to be like a week before we hear the actual results, which is pretty insane. And it's wild how politics has really shown, when you look at the maps, it's shown where the people are who line with certain parties. And the U.S. is so big right now with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And you see the blue, you see the red, and you just see that most of the people in the big cities or on the coasts are, Democrat thinking people, and then interior, it's Republicans. Here, it's the conservatives in the interior of BC, and on the like larger cities, it's NDP, and it's so bizarre how it's starting to really separate us and make us realize that we don't have the same thinking as the people in different jurisdictions of our country.
Yeah, you know what? And to a certain extent, I guess it kind of makes sense. Everybody has their own thoughts.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of funny now because whatever the results are, it's still going to be like somewhat of a fractured government that's going
Yeah.
to come into power.
Big
So
time.
everything that you want to push through is like, no, that's not going to go through.
Yeah.
Not like somebody's going to be opposed or against it. So I
Yeah.
guess we're going to have 4 years of nothing happening.
I know.
That's kind of cool.
That
Good
really
stuff.
sucks. Yeah. That's one of the things that really bugs me. When down in the States when Obama was in power, it just didn't seem like anything that he proposed was accepted and moved forward. So he had 8 years where, he just really couldn't get his agenda and things sorted out. Biden gets in there, and same kind of thing was happening. And I think that's what we're going to have here. Just a lot of money thrown at the government, and they're not going to be able to do anything with it. So they're just going to spend it on whatever they want. And, we're going to be in worse off shape 4 years from now.
Yeah. Like it'd be like the atmospheric river. We're just going to see it wash away. All that money.
Goodbye. Yeah, my tax money just keeps going away, going away, going away. So let's keep away from news, and let's get to the good old world of sports, where most of the time we're more happy than we are mad and sad. And man, there was so much freaking sports on. I don't think I slept all weekend because I was just watching and watching. I was trying to watch as much as I could, and having record, I'm so happy that I can record like 5-6 games going on at the same time. And if I didn't, I don't know what the hell I do. But I really couldn't believe how much great sports there were this weekend. Let's get to just talking about a little bit of it. Probably the biggest news is that the World Series has been set now in baseball. The October playoffs baseball has been spectacular. We saw the American League Championship Series and the National League Championship Series finally were finished this weekend, and it's the Yankees and the Dodgers. And this is actually going to be their 12th time facing each other. The Yankees go in. This is their 41st appearance in the World Series. The Dodgers have been in there 25 times. Yankees have the most titles with 27, and the Dodgers have 7 altogether. We get to see Judge against Ohtani, and the absolutely perfect matchup for Major League Baseball. I think, it's just, you couldn't script it better. And, to have the two biggest cities in the U.S. coast to coast like this, it's just a dream scenario. And I can't wait. Friday is the first game. Going to be tons of time to talk about it. But what did you think when you heard that it's the Yankees and the Dodgers?
Okay, who's the commissioner for baseball right now?
His name is Rob Manfred.
This is what I thought Rob Manfred would be like when it finally came in, and it was the Yankees versus the Dodgers. Yeah, yeah. The money's that we're gonna make. Yes, thank God. Yes, yeah. Like just a bunch of fist pumps. Just a bunch of fist pumps, and also too, I believe most people kind of were picking for these two to make the World Series anyways in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because
I think most people just, dream scenario. Obviously, if you're, a huge, massive fan of a certain team, you're disappointed and sad, and this didn't work out for you. But this is an absolute dream scenario for the sport. They're going to have, just amazing amount of coverage, incredible amount of viewership, because a lot of people have cut their cable. It's hard to, really feel the impact for television viewership anymore. But the streaming, the absolute media coverage, because the two cities, LA and New York, just have intense, unbelievable amount of media. So it's gonna be the biggest thing, I think, in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah, and it's a star-studded affair. Like you got stars on both teams, and it should be an immediate classic between these two teams. It should be an immediate classic. And do you think it'll go all 7 games?
I hope so. I sure hope so. I think so. The Dodgers are slightly favored, but
can't be by much.
Both teams have played incredible. The Yankees have only lost 2 games in this entire playoffs. They've both been hitting the ball like crazy. They've both been really good. The Yankees pitching has just been a little bit better than the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't have, traditionally teams have 4 starters, sometimes even a 5th. The Dodgers have been rolling out bullpen games. Even this last game yesterday, they had a bullpen game where they were just throwing out new guy every inning and just hoping for the best that he would get guys out. And so the Yankees have a bit better pitching. I think maybe the Dodgers have a little bit better hitting altogether throughout their lineup, but the big boys for the Yankees have been mashing the ball. Stanton got the MVP of the American League Championship Series, and this behemoth keeps getting up to bat and just crushing the ball out of the ballpark. It's been awesome to watch him. They've got Soto, they've got Judge, and then they've got Stanton now. And they finally moved Stanton up to the cleanup spot. And those three guys in a row, it must just make the pitchers sweat every single time those three guys have to come up. And they're like, oh my God, how am I going to get it by these guys? How am I going to make sure they don't hit home runs? This is crazy. And so, yeah, it's been awesome to watch and amazing that it finally came together. This absolutely dream scenario.
And also, too, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but don't the Dodgers have a guy that's literally playing on one leg at this moment in time?
Yeah,
I think it's Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, he's the Canadian boy, Freddie Freeman. Yeah, he's had serious ankle injury that's been just brutal. He's had to sit out. He didn't play last game, and he's had to miss a few games. But yeah, he's playing on one leg, and he's still hitting the ball great. He's still fielding when he's out there, and good to see the Canadian getting another opportunity. And he's been contributing really well, even though he just does have the one leg.
Yeah, like for me, when I heard that, I go, I think he sees the moment in time, and he's just like, heck with it. I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna put on my hockey mentality, and I'm gonna go out there and perform. And to a certain extent, that's just super impressive, because it looked like that's a major ankle roll. Like I saw it on Instagram,
yeah.
like what happened to him and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way you should be playing on that.
Yeah,
Like none. But
yeah.
he's still doing it and
Yeah.
helping out his team to get to the World Series. So
Yeah.
awesome work by the Canadian.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy and impressed. He's doing great. It's good to see Canadians do well. I did, I'm a huge Yankees fan, so I'm very, very happy about this. But Cleveland had three prominent Canadians for them. We talked about the Naylor brothers quite a bit, but we didn't talk about Cade Smith. He became one of the best relief pitchers, and he's an Abbotsford boy from your hometown. And he came in this year, had a really amazing performance. Faltered a tiny bit at the end of the series, but I was damn impressed with him, and great to see three very, very key members of Cleveland and making it that far and doing so well.
Yeah, that is impressive. And hopefully they can continue that in the next season and get back to where they were this year, but maybe go forward a step further, because they were very, very close. But unfortunately, they ran into the juggernaut Yankees, and really tough to beat. Really tough to beat.
Yeah. Man, was it fun. I jumped off my couch on a bunch of occasions the last couple of games. Classic games back and forth. That Cleveland Yankee series was great because it just kept going back and forth, back and forth. The Dodgers and the Mets series was weird because there was not a lead change at all until yesterday. The Mets scored the opening run in the first inning. Then the Dodgers ended up getting 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning, and that was the only lead change in the entire series. So teams were just spanking each other. The Mets would spank them every second day, and then the Dodgers would get them, and it went back and forth. But the Dodgers might finally, reared its ugly head, and now we've got this titanic battle. Can't wait. Games are in LA Friday, Saturday, then back in New York Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's gonna be epic. Definitely gonna be tuning in, and can't wait. Can't wait to see the actual viewership and the media attention and the coverage, and just see them putting baseball so high on the map, and just making it so prominent in the sports. Every show, every newspaper, everybody's going to be just putting it as the top stories of the day and the week. So it's great to see baseball really getting this huge injection of fun excitement, and yeah, just it's going to be amazing.
I think the Dodgers are really happy that they signed Otani. I think they're just like, you know what?
It's
I
paid
think
off.
we got ourselves a deal.
It's paid.
700 million
Yeah.
was actually rather cheap. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that he can just move from one side of the city to the other and finally make the playoffs, take them all to the World Series. And yeah, $700 million is a big risky check to actually have to sign over. But smart move, great move. And they are yeah, they are very thrilled they've done it. And it's paid off. I think it's paid off already. So it's
Oh, yeah.
unreal. Yeah, yeah, I can't wait to talk next week about how it's been yeah, how it's going, and we'll have two games in the books by then, and yeah, it's absolutely awesome that it worked out this way. It doesn't always happen for sports, but it has definitely happened this year. I do want to mention that we have some combat sports royalty in the city right now, and a few of my friends have been able to see them, spot them, and tell me that we've got some incredible guys. I sat down for drinks with a friend of mine last week, and he pulled out his phone and showed me a shot of his buddy and him at a bar with Randy Couture. Uh, he was there and he looks over. Is that Randy Couture? And they're like, yeah. He goes over and gets a picture with him, talks to him for a bit. Alexander Usyk is in town. Also, they are working with Dwayne Johnson on the Smashing Machine, the story of Mark Kerr. And so he's brought in a whole bunch of really, really prominent guys in the combat sports world. And it's awesome to see. I don't think I personally know anybody that's working on the show, but man, I really hope that I'll get the call any day now and go down there and hang out, watch these guys in the octagon, and get to see some of the best fighters in the world.
Yeah, I've seen. I remember when Dwayne Johnson got casted for the role, and in my head I'm like, he looks nothing like Mark Kerr. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know how they're gonna do that. But then when they put the prosthetic mask on him, this is pretty
Looks
impressive.
pretty good, yeah,
And
yeah.
like it's pretty good. Like I was kind of shocked. Um, awesome to see that they're actually bringing in real combat guys
Yeah.
to be in the movie to have that element of realism to it. So that's very cool.
Yeah, the other guys that are here are Boss Rutan. He plays himself. Ryan Bader actually plays Mark Coleman, which
Oh,
is
nice.
great. Mark Coleman has been in the media quite a bit recently, so awesome to see that. We've got Paul Lazenby, local guy, who he's in there. Then we've got the Pride ring announcer, Ryan Ventura, which is awesome. Emily Blunt plays, I guess, the one of the love interests for Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne and Emily have done a bunch of movies together, and yeah, gonna be just awesome. There's a nice list of the production and the cast here that I have in front of me, and yeah, man, I can't wait to see the movie. And yeah, I'm so glad and happy. Hope I get a chance to see Usyk. Love to get a chance to chat with that guy. I don't know. Can he speak any English though?
Yes, he can.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's broken, right? Like, and he can get his point across to you, but it's not like it's not like us talking
Yeah.
right now. But
Yeah.
he can get his point across.
Yeah, because the last press conference I saw him when they were promoting the Tyson Fury fight, he
He didn't
was
even try.
using translator 100%, and so just wasn't sure if he has any English abilities or not. So yeah, well, yeah, it's pretty cool. My friend was able to show me some pictures of him and Randy Couture. Okay, F1, we had a great race that took place down in San Antonio, Texas, called the American Grand Prix. Ferrari took over and finished 1-2. Charles Leclerc got first overall, and Carlos Sainz was second. Max Verstappen ended up in third place. Ferrari was just totally dominating, and man, this has just gone back and forth. It was Red Bull, then it was McLaren, now it's Ferrari, totally dominating, and it was a really, really super fun race to watch. They have their next race down in Mexico coming up this weekend. So yeah, a couple of races back-to-back weekends, and yeah, man, there was a massive crowd down in San Antonio for this race, and it was a really super fun race to watch.
Nice, man. I'm just glad that it's competitive again, and then not one guy is just not dominating the standings. Actually, what are the standings now? Like, how many? Like, is the season getting close to being over?
They got I think 6 races to go, I heard, and Lando Norris is the guy chasing on for the individual title. Lando was in fourth place, so he ended up 2 points behind Max. Max actually also won the sprint race on Saturday, so he pushed his lead out a little bit more this weekend. So yeah, he's definitely still the front runner. He's about 60 points ahead, and you know, looking like Max will be able to hold it off. But I don't think Red Bull's going to win the Constructors Championship. I think McLaren's going to take that, and Ferrari might even be able to come and replace them in second place possibly. So yeah, it's pretty wild to see Red Bull's not that dominant, and Max isn't as dominant as he was. And I think next year it's just totally up in the air.
Yeah, I think next year you're absolutely right. It's going to be totally up in the air, and it'll be anybody's to grab at that point in time.
Okay, locally, the Vancouver Canucks had a great performance on the weekend. Saturday, they ended up winning 3-0 and getting a great shutout. They are looking pretty damn good right now. They unfortunately, JT Miller was hurt on the opening faceoff. He left the ice and went to the dressing room, came back, and he ended up playing 17 minutes, but he never took another faceoff draw, which is very odd and strange. So something wrong with him. They won't divulge it. They'll just say upper body injury. He's working through it. It looks like he will play tomorrow against Chicago, but probably will not take faceoffs. So his line mates will have to do that and hopefully it won't get aggravated, him playing through this injury. I wish the NHL wasn't so, you know, tough about telling us what it is, but it looked like some kind of oblique or some kind of rib problem that he was having.
That sucks. That sucks that it happened so soon in the season.
Yeah.
And also too, I believe JT Miller, he's one of our best face-off guys, period, on the
Oh
team,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, dominating for sure. Yeah, he's so good at that. So that's going to harm them for sure.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're playing Chicago tomorrow. Chicago's not one of the top teams in the NHL yet. So yeah, should be able to still be pretty good. Canucks are looking pretty good lately. 2 straight wins. And last game of the road trip coming up tomorrow against Chicago before they return back home here to play Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. There was a really nice tribute on the weekend for Tyler Myers. He got his 1000th game in the NHL. Great to see him honored and recognized. It's amazing that he's made it this far. He was one of those guys that a lot of people thought, wow, this is a guy we want on our team because he's 6'8", 270 pounds, and he's going to be, you know, impossible to, you know, to beat on defense. He had such a great year. His first year coming out of the gate, he won Rookie of the Year, and he put up a lot of points. And then his point production after that first year just dropped right off the face of the earth, and he became a kind of a liability at times. He ended up getting a nickname, the Chaos Giraffe, and a lot of people were like, he's hard to watch because he's so big and he makes mistakes, and he looks like, you know, that giraffe trying to get up after being born in the out on the desert, right? And so it's great to see him get 1000 games in the NHL, get recognized, and he's definitely become one of the top guys on the Vancouver defense and a guy you can count on all the time now.
Which is good. Which is good to see. It's good to see that development. It's good to see that, that he wasn't out of the league after that stellar start from his rookie season, and that he fell off a cliff, like you said, with the points and everything else. But you know what? When you grind like that, where it took you so long to get into the league, and then once you're there, it's just like, well, the grind's not over. The
Yeah,
grind's not over.
keeps at
You
it.
still got to keep going. And I think he figured that out for himself. And now he's an integral part of our Canucks team. And I think he's going to be like that for quite some time to come. So that's good.
I don't think you and I have ever discussed this, but his brother, he has I guess they consider it a half brother because they both have the same mothers, different fathers. But his brother is Quentin Grimes, who now plays with Dallas Mavericks. It's the first ever brothers that have played in the NHL and the NBA. And his brother is the smaller brother, the younger brother. He's 6'5", and he's a shooting guard in the NBA. And it's pretty wild to see them both having these careers with the same mom, and both being able to be from Texas. He's from Houston originally. Grimes ended up going to the Knicks, playing 3 seasons with the Knicks, ended up getting traded to Detroit, played a little bit there, get traded over to Dallas and plays with the Mavs now. And the Mavs, very exciting organization, making the NBA Finals last year, expected to go very far this year. And incredible that these two brothers could have so much success and both make the leagues of their choice.
I had no idea. I did not know that. I think it's kind of hilarious that the taller brother actually ended up in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
And the smaller brother, who's not that small, by the way, 6'5", is still pretty tall.
Yeah.
Ends up in the NBA. Yeah, that is a first, right? Like that's never happened.
Never happened. No, two brothers, one playing in the NHL, one playing in the NBA, never happened before. So pretty wild. Klay Thompson's brother played with the
MLB.
Dodgers for quite a few years, and Klay integral also plays with the Mavs now. But never NHL, one guy NHL, one guy NBA. So very cool to see. I'm hoping Dallas utilizes him now. I don't know where he fits in because they've got 3 dynamic guards already, and Klay Thompson moving over there after 13 seasons in Golden State. I'm sure he's going to suck up most of those minutes.
He's going to suck up a lot of those minutes. I think Quentin Grimes is probably going to come in with the second unit team, right, and then just be like maybe spot up shooter, get him out on the corners, hit those threes when you're open, that kind of deal.
Yeah, because I think Dallas had a lot of high hopes for him. They traded away Tim Hardaway and 3 second rounders to get him, and until this Klay Thompson thing happened, I think they were going to utilize him as quite an integral piece. But now Klay's there. He's going to lack for minutes. Maybe he's a trade piece to get an asset somewhere in the forward group that they need.
Yeah, and he could be like that. They could use him as an asset as they try to figure everything out.
Yeah, so pretty wild. Those two guys, brothers, both made it there. Okay, quickly, MLS, Whitecaps crapped the bed again, only tied on the weekend. So now they have ended up finishing in 8th place. They're in 9th place in the MLS standings. They have to go to Portland and play their game coming up, the 1-game playoff. That's coming up Wednesday, and whoever wins out of that ends up playing the LA Galaxy. So super tough in a 3-game playoff there. So we'll see how it works out. I don't expect very much. Portland won. The Minnesota won to stay in 7th. Portland won. Whitecaps only were able to muster a 1-1 tie, and I think we're probably done Wednesday. But if they do miraculously pull out a win in Portland, which is a really tough place to play, they get the number 1 overall seed in the LA Galaxy.
Yeah, they got a tough hill to climb up though, and just from seeing what they've done so far this season, I don't know if they can do it. It would be nice if they do, but either way, even if they get into the playoffs, I don't think they're going too far.
No, no, it's done there. But be nice to be able to extend your season a little bit
Little
more,
bit.
get another opportunity. But I think, yeah, you're right. I think that's it for them there. Okay, also locally, the other team that shares BC Place with them, BC Lions had a great win on the weekend, 27-3 victory over Montreal. Vernon Adams was awesome. He played spectacularly, and they definitely have a QB controversy heading into the playoffs. I think Vernon's going to start now, and it's his team to run in the playoffs now. He had 385 yards passing, 2 touchdowns throwing, and he had 5 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown running himself. So the biggest reason why the Lions were able to beat the #1 overall team in the league, Montreal, and go in the playoffs on a nice high. The Lions get a bye this week before the playoffs start in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's a great way to go into the playoffs with a big win over the #1 team. And he looked obviously fantastic doing it. And yeah, I think there's no doubt that he should be the one starting in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Also some great news. Justin McInnis had a fantastic game that night as well, and it looks like he will be the top receiver in the league this year. He will have the most yardage out of any player in the CFL. It's only the third Canadian to do so in the history of the sport. Justin had 7 catches for 106 yards. He's got over 1,500 yards, somewhere close to 1,600 yards this year, and it looks like he will not be caught. He's being chased by Hardy from Ottawa, and I don't think he'll be able to put up the numbers that they're looking for, and we'll be able to have another Canadian as the top receiver in the CFL. It's pretty awesome.
No, that's fantastic. Like you said, it's been a long time since that's happened, and it's great that it happened for our team, the BC Lions.
Andy Fantuz is the other CFL player that no, sorry, yeah, okay, actually it's happened. This will be the 4th time. It happened to Andy Fantuz in 2010. Dave Sapungis did it twice in the 90s, and then Terry Evesham back in 1967. So incredible. Great to see McInnis being able to come in and have such a phenomenal season, and yeah, approaching 1,600 yards for a receiver. That's a dream year, an incredible accomplishment, and yeah, fantastic to see it. They were talking tons about the Grey Cup Festival. Lots and lots of events locally here. It's going to be great. Early part of November. So Thursday through Saturday, they have a big street festival. Going to be tons of bands, lots of food trucks, lots of really great fun activities and things to do. Thursday, they have the CFL Awards, and on Friday, they have a huge gala dinner. Saturday night, they have a massive concert. Sam Roberts and the Trues are playing. On Sunday, they're going to have a block party. Biff Naked will perform. And then the 111th Grey Cup on Saturday. The BC Lions finished in 3rd place in 2000 and were able to win the Western semifinal, the Western final, and make the Grey Cup and win the Grey Cup that year. So it has been done coming out of that 3rd position before, and they recognized that 2000 team this year quite a bit. And yeah, I think the Lions have a chance now. The way Vernon Adams played, the way this team defense shut them down. They only allowed 3 points in the entire game. Shut them down on 3rd and goal on a couple of occasions. Shut them down on like the 1 or 2 yard line. And both offense and defense looked fantastic. Hopefully they'll be able to carry that into the playoffs, and we'll see how it shakes down.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like I hope that they ride this wave of of success into the playoffs, and then they can maybe hopefully even taking it all the way to the Grey Cup, because that's what we would all love to see here in BC.
That'd be amazing, yeah. So last weekend, this is the last week of the CFL regular season schedule. The two games that really are the most important here have the Bombers playing Montreal on Saturday. It starts at noon Pacific time, and the Rough Riders host the Stampeders. If the Bombers win, they finish first overall. They'll get the bye into the Western Final, and the Rough Riders will host the Lions coming up. If the Bombers lose and the Rough Riders win, then the Rough Riders will host the Western Final. BC will have to head to Winnipeg for the semifinal. That goes on Saturday, November 2nd. That's the second game of the day, 3:30 local kickoff here. The division semifinal has already been set in the East. The Argonauts are going to host their Ontario rival Ottawa Red Blacks, and that goes Saturday, November 2nd. That's at 12 p.m. kickoff. And then we have the division finals happen. Montreal will host November 9th. That's the early game, and then to be determined depending on who wins the West between Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. Yeah, we'll see. Montreal had the best record overall. I'm sure Montreal will play, will try to play, their full complement of guys so they can head into the playoffs on a winning note. They ended up sitting quite a few of their starters in the second half of this BC game. So Bombers might not have an easy of time as BC did against them this past weekend here.
Yeah, that definitely they're probably not going to have as easy a time, because the Lions are playing a lot better than they have earlier on in the season.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so that's set up there. Okay, we are on the cusp of the NBA season. The WNBA season ended yesterday, and the New York Liberty were able to finally get their first title in their history. They had been to the finals 5 different times before that and were beat. 28 years in the making, they finally were able to raise the trophy. They ended up beating the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 in overtime yesterday. Lots of controversy, though. The Minnesota Lynx coach has said that it was complete bias. It was bullshit. She was really mad, saying that the referees and the league wanted New York to win. The disparity between the fouls and the free throws was incredible. I guess New York went to the line 25 times. Minnesota only 8 in the entire game. Their top star that had the most shots, had the ball the most. She never went to the free throw line the entire game. Her name is Nafisa Collier. And there was a controversial call with 5 seconds to go. Breanna Stewart had the ball. She went into the lane and went to shoot the ball. They called a foul that really didn't look like a foul. She actually traveled after she got the ball from out of bounds, and they didn't call the travel. They called the foul. She was able to go up, hit a couple of free throws, and cement the game away. And lots of controversy over it. It's kind of weird and crazy. I think the league probably did want the New York to win, but I don't think they, were able to influence the refs to make this call. But kind of wild to finish how it ended up turning out.
That sounds pretty suspect when there's so many different calls that they missed, and especially when there's a huge disparity in the fouls and the free throw line. Like I always have questions like, it's like, oh, okay, so what kind of game are you watching compared to what like fans are watching?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, should it be like that? Were they just literally fouling that much, but the other team was so perfect in their defense, they never fouled? Yeah, I know. I've never really believed in that.
No, true. Yeah. So yeah, maybe the league, WNBA league, wanted to make sure New York was finally going there. They got Sabrina Ionescu. They got Breanna Stewart. The MVP was Jonquel Jones, and she ended up becoming MVP. She's had a very, very decorated career, was able to add that to that career. Pretty incredible. Lots of attention, amazing amount of attention to the WNBA this year. I think unprecedented. They decided actually today that the union will not agree to have the CBA continue the way it is. They want to rip it up and create a new one. They have a lot of issues with the pay and how it's working now that the popularity is there. They're all wanting more. They said that they're going to go into negotiations right away and try to draw up a new CBA so it can benefit the players a lot more. The top salary in the WNBA, the most a player can make is $252K, and they just don't think that's fair and should be that way. And they're hoping to, change everybody's mind and get a new CBA. So I kind of saw this coming.
Yeah, but you know who they can really thank for having the ability to change the CBA is Miss Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All those ladies should be giving her a hand because she's the only reason why they're able to negotiate for a bigger salary.
Yeah.
That they're able to do any of this stuff and also to the new NBA deal, which also includes the WNBA. I think they got like an infusion of like 100 million or something like that. So there's more money in the pot for them anyways.
Yeah.
And there's more people watching their product. So
yeah. No, this final series, you saw it just completely sold out in Minnesota, New York. You saw tons of celebrities courtside. You see Spike there being one of the biggest fans, and you see just tons and tons and tons of support. So yeah, it makes more sense to get a new economic model there for sure. They also want lifelong benefits. They want an expansion to that. So there's a legacy after you play in the league for a while. They say that their facilities need upgrading a lot across the league. They don't have very great facilities for the ladies, so they want that standard raised, and hopefully, a lot of that ends up happening. So they end up finishing the season there, and boom, tomorrow the NBA season will start. The Celtics and the New York Knicks play the very first game of the regular season. That's a very smart matchup for the TV broadcasters. 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern time will be the tip-off for that game. The defending champion Celtics against the Knicks, which should be a great game. And then the late game has the Lakers hosting the new look T-Wolves, and that's the 7 o'clock tip-off. Wednesday gets into the big slate, 10-game slate. Raptors will play on Wednesday. They host the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's 4:30 tip-off in Toronto. Looking forward to an exciting NBA season. Some new faces, some new changes, and it's going to be great. I kind of want to throw out the top 8 I think are going to be in the mix in both sides. Do you have any comments to make before I do that?
No, not yet. I'm curious to see what your top 8 is, and because I know that I have some feelings about certain teams and stuff, but I'm just excited. I'm excited to see these new look teams, and I'm excited to see the start of the new NBA season.
Me too. Yeah, big time. Yeah. I mentioned Celtics defending champions. I think they're winning the East again. I don't think any team can compete with them unless they make some other moves and some trades during the season. But I think the Celtics are there, and I think the Knicks actually will be finishing in second place. I think they've been able to bring in Karl Anthony Towns now. I think this team has all the pieces in place to really push the Celtics for that top place in the East.
I agree. I think the Celtics. I think the Celtics actually will probably even have somewhat of a chip on their shoulder, because I think Jason Tatum is just like, so you dissed me on the Olympic team, eh? Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna destroy Golden State whenever I play them. Good stuff. Jaylen Brown's definitely gonna be like, you didn't even have me on the team. Oh, I'm super pissed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're like, I think you pissed off 2 of the superstars on the Celtics, and I think they're gonna come out with something to prove. for sure.
Yeah.
And then for the Knicks, I just like I like the combination of their team.
Yeah.
I think Cat will have to be okay with the fact that this is Jalen Brunson's team. This is most certainly not his team. And so he's in there to help bring that team up a couple levels, which I think he can do. The only thing that I'm worried about with Cat is that I don't think that Cat and Thibodeau have had a very good relationship in the past.
Right.
Now that they're together, I think Thibodeau is just going to be very demanding of Cat to be defensively responsible. I hope that Cat can actually do that.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll find out.
True. Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm glad you made that. Yeah, because he's the boss, and what he makes he stirs the drink there, and if you don't get along with him, could be trouble. But I think I think they'll figure it out. He looked great in the preseason. Was able to really seamlessly come into this team, and I think he'll be terrific there in that system. So. I think the Bucks ended up. I think the Bucks end up in third. I think Middleton's 2 off-season ankle surgeries, both ankles, will harm them. He will not be ready for the start of the season, and I think it'll take him at least half the year to really get into the flow of things. They've always missed him when he's missed time, and so I think that will be a blow. But I think that with Giannis and Dame together. I think it took them last year. I don't think they really figured it out. I think this year they will figure it out, and that will be a big catalyst to get them back into that third position in the East.
Yeah, and Damian Lillard also too. He had a lot of off-court issues that he was dealing with at the same time as well. And I think for this season, those issues have now been, for the most part, solved to some extent. So I think now he's just like, I'm just all about basketball and focusing in on that. And, Giannis is always just all about basketball. So I'm hoping that the two of them can find some synergy now, some real synergy, and go forward and be the force they were always meant to be on that team.
Yeah, for sure. I think then it goes Cavs, Magic. I think the Magic have been able to really put in a lot of great people in place, a young team that looks fantastic. I think the Sixers have fallen down to 6th, and I think they're going to struggle a bit, even with the huge acquisition of Paul George. And I think that we've got the Pacers and the Heat rounding out that top 8 positions in the Eastern Conference.
I like it. I agree, especially with the Sixers take, because since I believe Joel Embiid has already come out and said, I don't do back-to-backs. That's not a thing for me anymore. And I which I kind of find funny. It's like, I thought we paid you to play. I guess I was.
I guess some of Ben Simmons rubbed off on him. We didn't really know. Crazy, yeah. I think the teams that will be falling down, maybe battling for some play-in, possibly, will be the Hawks and the Hornets. I think they have that ability possibly, but the also Rans will be the Pistons, the Bulls, the Raptors, the Nets, and the Wizards. Raptors are going to struggle, I think, unfortunately, but I think they'll be a bit better than last year. So hopefully that's the case. In the Western Conference, I think OKC is finally that team that just built it perfectly, built it so well. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will compete for MVP again this year, and I think he's going to lead the team to the top of the Western Conference. I think the T-Wolves will be right there with the Nuggets, 2 and 3 in the West.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt for me that OKC is going to be number 1 in the West. Like they're awesome. Like they have everything. They have everything that they want. They can change positionally. They can play any way that any other team is playing. Like they're going to be a handful. Period. Yeah. They're just going to be a handful. Period. I think Anthony Edwards is going to take another step forward in his ascension up the ranks of like top 5, top 6 players in the league. I think he's going to take another step forward. And the Joker's always going to be, the Joker. So he's awesome. And yeah, I like that. I like those top 3.
Then I have the Mavs and the Grizzlies 4 and 5. Then Kings, Suns, and Lakers. Lakers seem to always get that last seventh or eighth position down there. I really look forward to seeing the Mavs this year. Grizzlies are going to be much improved for sure. They've added some pieces. Zach Edey. I really think that he's being underestimated by so many people. I think nobody ever thought that he would be able to be that force. I think he's going to be able to be huge for that team with John Morant. I think, yeah, look out. Grizzlies are going to be competing for that top four, maybe falling into the fifth position there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think Edie is going to be better than from other analysts think. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to contribute greatly to the Grizzlies going forward. And also, too, I want to say Kawamura, the Japanese guard.
He's awesome.
I think he's awesome. Like I saw some of his preseason awesome, highlights. Yeah. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be like that wild card for the Memphis Grizzlies going forward. I really like him.
5'8", isn't he? 5'8".
So yeah, he's going to be the smallest guy in the NBA.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, that was such a great acquisition, and I think that team's going to be very fun to watch with him on the court. And then the teams that are going to be fighting for positioning down at the bottom, I think the Rockets and the Pels have maybe an opportunity to move up in that top 8, but I think they'll fall short. I think the Warriors and Spurs are both falling short. Clippers, I don't see them in the mix at all. And then we've got the Jazz and the Blazers. I think Blazers might be bottom of the conference again.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about the Houston Rockets is that they do have the potential. They could finish with just like 30 wins, 35 wins, or they could be pushing towards 50. Okay. And that would be the high end for the team. Because like if you look at their roster, they got a bunch of great players, man. They really do. Yeah. And then if they can actually somehow gel together and they could find their potential, it could be right up there. They could be in the mix.
Yeah. With the Kings, I think DeMar DeRozan was a great acquisition for them. I think that'll help them a lot. Klay Thompson playing somewhere else with Dallas, that'll be bizarre. Seeing those two guys changing teams will be crazy. I do want to just mention some of the probable people that will be hoisting awards. We mentioned Edey. I think Zach Edey and Reed Shepherd from Houston will be the two front runners for Rookie of the Year.
Definitely, I would agree with Reed Shepherd. Zach Edey is a possibility. Maybe even possibly Rob Dillingham for the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. I don't know about the top picks though, like the Ricochet and yeah, I'm not sure about those guys.
And dark horse Dalton Connect.
He had a great game in that preseason game where he scored 35 points, 24 points in the fourth quarter. He was absolutely unbelievable. He was unreal.
I know. Yeah, if he gets an opportunity there, I think he'll be incredible. I think MVP, you mentioned earlier, Anthony Edwards. I think he takes that next step. I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and him will be go back and forth. And of course, Jokic, who's won it 3 out of the last 4 years, will always be in the mix.
Yeah, Jokic will be in the mix, but I don't think, barring he does something completely unbelievable, I don't think he's going to win the MVP this year because the voters usually don't do that. So I don't think he'll win. But I think if anybody's going to win the MVP, who it could be their year, I think it's SGA.
Yeah,
I think it's Shea.
And my dark horse is Victor Wembanyama. Have you seen his body compared to when he first came in? I think he's put on 25 pounds of muscle. He actually looks pretty jacked for a guy that size. Because I've never seen a guy that size ever get jacked. They usually just can't put any weight on, but someone was able to really get him in the gym and figure out how to put muscle on him.
Which is awesome. Which is awesome to see. Like I think that dude is an ultimate competitor, and he will do whatever is necessary for him to grow and be better. Yeah. Maybe he's taking some tips from the Admiral, David Robinson, because He's looking pretty swole and it's looking awesome. And I hope he continues. I hope he continues that hard work and keeps putting on that muscle. He's gonna need.
I think if he stays healthy, he's a shoo-in for defensive player of the year. They keep giving it to Gobert year after year, but I think Wemby's the guy now. I think he's gonna probably win it for the next 10 years if he stays healthy.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Like I think he possibly should have probably won it even last year for
Yeah.
his
I
rookie
would have
year.
given it to him. If I had a vote, I would have given it to him. Yeah. I think he
So would I.
got screwed a little bit because he was rookie. I think they
Rookie.
just didn't want to give it to him because he was rookie. Yeah. So okay, we always have a sixth man. I think the two guys, in my opinion, that are the front runners are both T-Wolves. Um, I think Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo are in the running there, and Malik Monk from the Kings will get some consideration too.
Yeah, I've always loved Malik Monk. Definitely, I think he's definitely going to get some consideration, and I like your other two picks as well. Uh, no, I think he's going to start though. I was going to say the guard for the Golden State, Pajemski.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because I really like him. I really like his game. So that would be a dark horse, possibly.
We have two other awards, recent awards. Most improved player. I've got four guys on my list here. I've got Wembanyama, I've got Jalen Williams, OKC, Evan Mobley, and I've got Jalen Johnson. All four guys I think will get serious consideration. I think they're gonna all get a lot more exposure, a lot more minutes, and I think they're some of these guys are gonna become household names.
No, yeah, no, I agree with all of those picks. Those are great picks. Probably the one that I would lean towards the most to improve the most, but it might be Wembanyama.
Yeah, yeah, amazing, eh? He might win like 3, 4 awards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good,
yeah, he might
good.
get a lot of them here. They introduced a new clutch award over the past couple of seasons, and Steph Curry won it last year. Front runner again after his Olympic performance. But Warriors might struggle this year, so maybe they'll give it to a guy that's finishing higher up in the standings for the team. The other three guys I have on the list are Luka Doncic, Dame Lillard, and Jalen Brunson.
Those are good. Those are pretty good picks. I think I would throw in De'Aaron Fox in there as well, because I think he was very effective in fourth quarter scoring. So
Big time.
I would throw him in the mix in that.
Yeah. DeMar DeRozan also was very clutch last year. Had one of the top clutch per points for the season, and he could be really in the mix there as well. Coming out of Chicago, bad situation there. So a lot of these, the deadline was today for the rookie extensions, and we were able to see three big extensions get met today. Trey Murphy got a 4-year, $112 million deal from the Pels. Jalen Green ended up getting a deal, and let's see what's Green's deal. Just give me a sec. Moses Moody got a 3-year, $39 million deal from the Warriors. I can't see Green's number. I think it's close to what Trey Murphy got, somewhere in the 4 years, 112. And then the Rockets agreed to a 5-year deal with Alperen Sengun. That's $185 million they gave him. And then the Warriors announced that Jonathan Kuminga will not get an extension. They want to see with extended minutes what he'll get this year. So, but yeah, 3, 4 big extensions were signed today from those rookie deals.
Makes sense. Makes sense for all those teams to lock in those players, because I think they're going to be important for them going forward, especially with the Rockets and Sengun. I love that guy's game. He's like a little mini Jokic.
Yeah.
That's what people keep saying. He's his own player, but I really like his game.
I'm
Really
glad you mentioned the Rockets because they have done it similarly to what OKC's done. They've been able to really make a lot of moves, getting a lot of younger guys. into that mix. And with Ime Udoka coming over, I think he's going to be able to put his thumbprint on this team and be able to really get them playing the same up-tempo basketball they were playing in Boston when he was there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I believe in that. I see that. And then also too, they have just the right amount of veteran leadership with Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah. Oh, and the final award, Coach of the Year. I've got 6 candidates here. We'll see who shakes out. Usually it's a team that takes a big leap and yeah, somewhere comes out of nowhere, ends up having a spectacular year. Joe Mazzulla from the Celtics, he probably deserves it, but might not get it because Celtics won it all last year and they're sort of expected to. But I've got Taylor Jenkins from the Grizzlies, Mike Budenholzer from the Suns, Ime Udoka from the Rockets, as I mentioned, Mark Daigneault from the Thunder, Eric Spoelstra from the Heat is the other guy. But my money's on Daigneault. If the Thunder do get that #1 position in the West, Shea gets that MVP, and they really end up playing as well as I think they're going to play. I think they're going to get multiple awards from this team and go very far in the playoffs.
I believe that. I agree with that, and I think if all of those things come to fruition, Daniel wins Coach of the Year.
Okay. Forbes just put out a list of the highest paid NBA players, and it just came out. I think it was today. Yeah, it came out today. We've got an incredible list of guys on here who are making just ginormous amounts of money. And the money that came in recently for the television contracts for the NBA, these guys are going to have skyrocketing money from on the court earnings. A lot of them are making tons of money off the court earnings, but LeBron made the highest paid NBA player again for the 11th year in a row. They estimated his earnings this past year of $128.7 million, $48.7 million on the court, $80 million off the court. It's incredible, spectacular, and 11 years in a row, he's the highest guy, even going into his 40s.
Makes sense. Makes sense. He's been the face of the league for a very long time, continues being said face of the league. And guess what? That's what the face of the league gets paid nowadays. And by the way, that number is only going to go up because LeBron's maybe has one more year left. And then whoever takes over, that's going to go up. Yeah. That's going to be more money. So.
Definitely. It's incredible what we're seeing. Steph Curry, second at $105.8 million. 55.8 million on the court, $50 million off. Also $50 million off the court and $50 million on the court, KD. So he just made just a touch below $100 million. Giannis was 93.8 million, 48.8 million on, 45 million off. And then it drops down quite a bit to number 6, Dame Lillard. He's got kids to feed. Come on, get this guy some money. Only $64.8 million. He made almost 50 million on the court, but he only made 16 million off the court. So poor guy. We're gonna have to take up a fund to make him some more money so he can feed all those kids he's got.
Yeah. I guess we're seeing him as the new Latrell Sprewell. I got kids to feed.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he knew where I was going with that.
Yes,
the rest of the top 10 have Joel Embiid, 61.4 million, Jimmy Butler just under 60, Booker 58.2, Luka Doncic $58 million, and Bradley Beal $57.7 million in 10th place. 50 million on the court and $7.5 million off.
Wow, Bradley Beal. Totally forgot about him. That's right. He managed to get that baller contract, and it's really paid off so far. Really
big paid, man. Big getting paid.
Yeah, getting paid, man.
Big getting paid. Yeah. Okay. Just want to quickly mention the PGA Championship. They had it in Vegas this past weekend. It was called the Shriners Open. JT Poston ended up winning the tournament. One-shot victory over Doug Gim. Our guy, Taylor Pendrith, had a fantastic tournament. Started off the tournament with a 61, his lowest score on a PGA Tour event. He ended up finishing 17 under and 8th place by himself, cashed a big paycheck. Nice to see the Canadian doing so well and up at the top of the leaderboard so much over the week. And yeah, it was a very, very, very fun tournament, as always with the PGA. We're going to get to NFL in a sec, but I do want to mention college football. The new rankings came out yesterday, and Oregon now sits number 1 overall. They were number 2, but Georgia ended up beating number 1 Texas. Georgia's now sitting in number 2 position. Texas fell all the way from number 1 down to number 5. Great to see Oregon, a Pacific team here, old Pac-10 team. They won 35-0 against Purdue and sit in number 1 position overall in the nation.
No, it is great to see. It's great to see that we got a team that's closer to where we live. That's number 1 in the country in the U.S. because it's usually always the southern schools that are dominating that position. So great to see, and also too, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised to see Texas fall off because that's what them schools do. They're so good. So many of them down there, they just beat up on each other.
Yeah,
which is what we've seen this year so far.
It's incredible. That game was pretty wild. The Georgia game, Georgia ended up winning 30-15 and moving from 5-1, dropping Texas from 1-5. Their next game, Georgia next game they play Florida. Should be fun. Penn State has now moved up to number 3. They're still undefeated at 6-0. They had a bye, but they moved up, and they next go to Wisconsin, playing this Saturday against that. Ohio State has moved up to number 4. They also had a bye. Their next game is against Nebraska. Texas will play Vanderbilt, number 25 Vanderbilt, on Saturday and try to regroup. Miami, what a game this was. The Miami-Louisville game ended up 52-45. What an incredible game. Just whoever was holding the ball last was going to win this baby, and it was incredible. Back and forth, back and forth. Miami ends up playing Florida State this Saturday, which is always a great inter-state rival. And yeah, should be another another absolute offensive explosion from Miami. Man, this team looks like a juggernaut offensively.
That's awesome. You know what? If there's one thing I do appreciate watching when I watch college football games, it's the offense.
Yeah.
And if there's like, oh, you guys don't have no defense, good enough. Let's have ourselves a good old shootout, and that's what they did. And Miami's showing it's like, nah, our offense, we can score with the best of them, and we'll pretty much outscore you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Michael Irvin was there on the sideline, just pumping his fist the whole time. It was super cool to see, and it's great. Yeah, Miami will be fun to watch the rest of the year. Okay, number 7 is Tennessee. They're 6-1. They beat Alabama 24-17. They have a bye this week. Alabama has fallen. Bam, bam, bam. After Saban's loss, they're all the way down to 15th in the nation. Pretty wild to see how much Nick Saban means to that program. 6 championships there, and the greatest of all time. Yeah, he finally said, see you later, and they are sad. They haven't fallen this far down in the rankings in a long, long, long time.
It just seems that their discipline is just not nearly the same under this new coaching regime as it was with Saban's. It's like that's what seems to be glaring to me.
Yeah.
And then some of the mistakes that the quarterback Milroe has made, because I saw some highlights.
Yeah.
There's just some throws you just shouldn't make. It's just like, no, man, you can't make that throw.
Bad picks from him.
Some bad picks, really bad picks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's shaping up to be a great second half here. There some of the other games that stood out for me were the BYU and Iowa State and BYU, both still 7-0. They both won 38-35 and had great performances there. Notre Dame sitting in 12th. Indiana, they are 7-0, beating Nebraska 56-7. Nathan Rourke's brother, Curtis Rourke, is there, and he is one of the main reasons why this Indiana team has taken such a massive turn for the better. They are always known as a basketball school instead of football, but bringing Curtis Rourke in there has really, really turned this program around. They look fantastic. College game day will be in Indiana. First time ever college game day will be there. They're hosting Washington on Saturday. Unfortunately, Curtis Rourke injured his thumb and will not be able to play. Hopefully they got a great backup that will be able to still keep this juggernaut going and keep this undefeated team rolling along.
Yeah, hopefully they can do that. But just them having college game day there on campus, I'm sure that's going to pump them up. And also, too, like the dude that stirs the drink for college game day, Pat McAfee, that guy is awesome. Like, I'm sorry, man. That dude is just awesome. The way that he pumps up and gets everybody involved in the game, he's fantastic.
Such an addition to that, where he turns around to the crowd, gets some chanting, gets some singing, knows all the great things to do to just pump up the crowd. And yeah, man, he makes that college football game day so fun.
No, he makes it. He makes it special. He makes it awesome, and he involves everybody in it. Like he's a magician. He's magic.
Looking forward to Boise State having a game. They had a bye this weekend. Can't wait to see Austin Jonty have another opportunity at it. Amazing still to see Army and Navy still undefeated in there. Number 23 and number 24. Army won 45-28 and Navy won 51-17. And Navy ends up hosting Notre Dame this coming weekend, their toughest test yet. But yeah, fantastic. College football is really, really fun. I'm actually amazed at how fun it is this year, and expanding that to 12 teams now has really just opened up college football so much more. I think I actually was watching College Game Day, and they started showing all the teams that are still in the mix for that college football playoffs. There was 30 teams that still could be in the mix for the 12 teams that are going to make up the college football playoffs. At this time last year, there was maybe like 6 teams in the mix to be in the 4, the top 4. So doing this expansion, I think, is just going to change college football, get the popularity, have so many more colleges and universities in the mix, and it's just going to be fantastic to watch all season long.
Yeah, and I agree. It's better for the fans. It's better involvement, and it's just garners more excitement with more teams involved.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah. Okay, we got the NFC now. NFL now. Sorry, NFL. We're starting with the NFC. The team that's leading the division again, the Washington Commanders absolutely spanked the Carolina Panthers 40-7. Commanders now 5-2. Panthers fall to 1-6. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels got hurt, has some rib injuries. Marcus Mariota came in, and they didn't miss a beat. The guy was awesome. He was incredible, and this juggernaut Washington Commanders team just stomped on the Panthers and showed they are the team to beat in the NFC East.
I was surprised and impressed when I saw Daniels go out with the rib injury. I'm like, this might not be good. This might not be good, because I remember the last time I saw Marcus Mariota play, I believe it was for my beloved Falcons.
Yeah,
it didn't look very good.
No, I thought his career was done. Actually, I thought he was going to be out of the league. It didn't look like he had anything left.
No, it didn't look like he had anything left. But then now he takes over for Daniels, and I guess that Commanders culture is he's taken to it, because like he was unbelievable. Like he was so good. He was so good. 18 to 23. It looked like every time he was passing the ball, like it's like he just couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Couldn't miss, man. He had 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, one to Zach Ertz, and one to Sinote, and it they smashed the Panthers.
Yeah.
Like we all know the Panthers are garbage, all right? We know that. But when Daniels went out, I'm like, the Panthers could make a game of this. That wasn't even close, man.
No.
Wasn't even close.
No,
Yeah.
there was worlds apart. It was like a pro team beating up on a college team. It was worlds apart. Yeah, I think the Panthers probably were like, oh, thank goodness we knocked Bryce Young. I mean, we knocked Jaden Daniels out, and we got Bryce Young. Maybe, no, not gonna happen. Dalton struggled through a couple picks, so Bryce Young did see some action. He was 2 for 2 for -4 yards, so I don't think Bryce Young was the answer. Andy Dalton, not the answer either. This team is tough. I feel for Chuba Hubbard. Got the lone TD for them. The only guy that did anything on the day. It's hard to even look down their depth chart and see who else we can mention because nobody did anything. It was brutal performance by them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it, man. Like I look at Chuba and I just go, hey man, you just keep doing your thing because you're literally the lone bright spot on this team. Like it's you and it's you.
I thought Deontay Johnson was pretty good in Pittsburgh. He had one catch for 17 yards in this game, just non-existent now. Carolina had 180 total yards, 85 passing and 95 rushing, only 11 first downs. This team is just beyond brutal. Andy Dalton cannot fix them. Nobody can fix them, I don't think. So this is going to be a tough year down in Carolina. They go play the Denver Broncos. That's Sunday in the late window. And the Commanders host the Bears. Same time, 1:25 Pacific kickoff for that. Okay, let's talk about the Eagles, who are second place in the NFC East. This was also a blowout game for them. 28-3 over the Giants. Eagles are now 4-2. The Giants are last in the East at 2-5. This was revenge game for Saquon Barkley. He was like, okay, I'm going to prove to you that you really messed up. I know you know, but I'm going to really show you. I heard that out of his 188 yards from scrimmage, he didn't get touched for the first 140 of those. So that's insane. That's unbelievable. The Giants just said, okay, ole, and just let him go. He just absolutely stomped on them. The numbers are ridiculous. And yeah, this was definitely Saquon's game. He was the guy that made this victory easy.
Yeah, 17 carries, 176 yards and a touchdown. So he did all that, and they didn't even give it to him 20 times. They didn't even give it to him 25 times. Like maybe they were just like, you know what do you think, Saquon? Do you want to hold up on him a little bit, just out of respect? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe.
Imagine if he had 25, 30 touches. Oh my God, what kind of numbers does he put up? It's insane.
Exactly. That's what I was looking at through that entirety of this game. And man, what can I say about the Giants? Nothing, like just nothing. Like Daniel Jones supposed to be the future.
Eight sacks. They had 8 freaking sacks on him. 8 sacks. Okay. And he ended up getting benched. Drew Lock saw some time, which was pretty shocking. Awesome. Jones is mad, super choked that he got benched. He just didn't have any freaking time. Like every time he dropped back, he was being pressured by 2 or 3 guys. Like 8 freaking sacks. Like no wonder he had a couple picks and he couldn't do anything. Like he has a horrible offensive line. When you got no running game and they're gonna key on you all throughout, you're in big trouble there. And to bench him, I thought it was pretty stupid of Brian Daboll.
No, I thought it was
just trying to protect them, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was laughable because he's just like if I'm Jones, I'm like, well, you get back there. You do it. Like you see what you can do with that, right? Because it's like, at some point in time, you have to be like, my offensive line has to be able to block somebody. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like I need time. I can't. I just unless you want the ball out in a second. Hut, throw the ball.
Yeah. Tough. Yeah, so brutal there. Yeah, Malik Neighbors coming back after his concussion. Wasn't able to really have much of an impact because Jones was just in lots of trouble. Didn't even throw for 100 yards. Yeah, nothing much you can say on their defensive side. Dexter Lawrence had a good game with 2 sacks, but Jones threw 2 picks. Nakobe Dean and Jalen Carter had both, and they had 2 sacks each of the total of the 8 sacks. And Eagles outgained the Giants 340 to 119. Out rushed them by over 200 yards. First downs were 20-11. 11 punts from the Giants, 8 sacks allowed. It's ugly there. They go play the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Monday nighter. Steelers are looking good with Russell Wilson. We'll talk about that in a sec. So Giants are in for a tough year. Eagles go to the Bengals. They play in the early window. I saw some footage of them. It was during the you know how they have that access? What's the show called the NFL does where they get the unprecedented access to them? And what the hell that show? I should be able to remember it. We'll both be able to remember it in a second. But there was a shot of the owner of the team in the general manager's office, and he said, "Hey, what's the latest on Saquon? What's happening here?" And he said, "Well, the latest I got is that the Bears are really in, and the Eagles have fallen off with their interest." And he goes, "Oh, God, good." He goes, "Man, what if I won't even be able to sleep at night if he goes to the Eagles." And, and it was like, oh my God, Mara doesn't sleep anymore because he went to the division rival Eagles. It was crazy, unprecedented, cool that they were released that clip of it and showed that he didn't want him to go there. And stupidly they let him walk and let him go, and they're going to pay the price for the rest of Saquon's career. Really,
I'm surprised they let that clip go. I'm surprised they let that clip get out there. Like, well, geez, really? It's like, well, you guys, you let it happen. You know that, right? you got a response for that.
Yeah.
Surprising, but at the same time, not surprising because Barkley will have something to prove. Yeah. Every time he plays against you. Every time.
Yeah. Pay Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Can't pay Barkley $13 million a year. Just super stupid and unbelievable. Yep. Yeah. Just boneheaded move for sure. So okay, so that is the NFC East picture because the Cowboys had a bye. They did not play this past weekend. Let's turn to the NFC West. We've got Seahawks leading the division at 4-3. The Niners have fallen out into second place, 3-4, and the Cards and the Rams are 2-4 right now. Seahawks had a great bounce back performance after losing 3 straight. I thought they were going to be in tough against the Falcons. We're able to beat them 34-14. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and Kenneth Walker all had great games to lead the way for them. DK got hurt and really worried about the injury and what kind of timeline. Haven't heard anything yet. I've been waiting with bated breath because he was taken off on a cart and left the game and headed to the hospital. So really big blow for Seattle. Huge win for them, but big blow losing DK.
Was it a lower body injury? Because like I remember when he got carted off, but I was just like I was trying to figure out what happened, and I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out upper low. Like I have no idea. Or was it? It definitely wasn't a concussion.
This says knee injury here that I see here. So
okay.
He's considered week to week with a knee injury.
That's too bad, man. Because the Seahawks seemed like they were beginning to find their footing with this win against the Falcons. Because it could have gone one way or the other, obviously, right? But I thought this was a big win for them, and it kind of sucks that DK got hurt like that, because they're gonna need him for the bulk of this season to really make a push.
Big time. He had 4 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful 31-yard TD catch. The other catch that he made was when they decided to do a bit of a razzle-dazzle play, and Jackson Smith and Jigba ended up throwing the ball, and it was a duck. It was a floater up in the air. And somehow DK, because he's 6'5" or whatever, and he jumps up and hauls it in. It was an amazing catch that not many receivers in the NFL would have been able to bring down. And Jackson was like, "Oh, thank God that didn't come out very well, but you sure made it look good."
Yeah, exactly. No, DK made that look good. He made that all possible.
Yeah,
not a great pass.
That was impressive. Gino had a good game. Gino's having a fantastic season. Came into the game leading the league in passing yards. Had another 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had a great game as well. He is definitely coming in and doing really well. He ended up getting a touchdown catch. He had about 100 yards as well. And then they also had great defense. Picks by Julian Love and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was great with 7 tackles, 4 assists. And they also had a 64-yard fumble return for a touchdown there. And I was shocked. The Seahawks looked great. 3 games in a row, they were really struggling. They put it all together in this one.
Yeah, no, they did. They really did. They put it all together in this one. Their defense came out, played well, played hard against Cousins, forced them to turn over the ball 2 times with his two interceptions. They were good. They were good.
Yeah, I thought they were really good. Bijan had a pretty decent game. London and Pitts played well. Algier, not as great of a game as normal. And Seahawks were able to prevail. Seahawks will be hosting the Bills coming up this Sunday. That's in the later window. And the Falcons, they play the Bucks and in Tampa. That's in the early window for that game. Okay, let's talk about the 49ers. This Chiefs 49ers game was circled big time by a lot of people on the schedule because it was the rematch of the last Super Bowl we had. The Chiefs come in undefeated at 5-0, but not looking like a juggernaut. Actually winning most of their games because of their great defense. I thought this game was going to be the game of the weekend. It didn't really live up to the billing because the Chiefs were able to win 28-18, pushing the Niners down to 3-5. I think this game was just Chiefs defense just really flexing their muscle, picking off Brock Purdy 3 times and really giving him a lot of trouble. They scored their touchdowns on the ground. 4 touchdowns on the ground. Kareem Hunt 2, and Mahomes had 1. And not Mahomes magic doesn't really need to be there when you got a great running game and great defense like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like Mahomes, he had 2 interceptions himself, but he had that one fantastic run that I think he ran for over 50 yards for one of his runs.
I think they said it was his career-long run. I think I heard that.
Yeah, so
I don't think it was like 50, but it was 30 something, and it was spectacular because it looked like he was going to go out of bounds, and then he cut back in and went down the sideline. He looks pretty slow, but he still had a really, really good run.
Yeah, had a great run, man. So, like the Chiefs still they managed to figure it out some way somehow, and they don't even have like the receivers. Like they're just picking these guys off the scrap heap. That was part of the problem with the 49ers too, as well, because the only guy that they literally had out there after a while was Kittle, because even Ayuk got taken out off of one of the tackles where it looked like he hyperextended his knee.
Torn ACL.
Done
for the year.
Yeah, because I saw the tackle and I was just like, I saw the way his knee went and I'm like, that is not good.
No,
that is not good.
Yeah, it definitely bent backwards a little bit, and he tore his ACL, so he's gone. Yeah, another blow injury wise for the Niners, and really, really tough on them. Kareem Hunt, they dragged him off the scrap heap, and he's been able to come in. Was
Yeah.
able to, get 80 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns, and Nick McCole Hardman. I thought they were going to, utilize him. He was their kick return guy. They finally were able to bring him back into the mix, and he was able to get a touchdown too. Travis Kelce's almost non-existent most of the games this year. He hasn't scored a touchdown all season. Only had 17 yards in this one. So Noah Gray is their sort of go-to tight end right now, and some of the other guys that are trying to take up space, but very smartly the Chiefs have realized we don't have all their offensive weapons anymore. We better stack defense. We better get a great running game going, and they've been able to be the only undefeated team going forward.
Yeah, because Andy Reid's a genius, and he realizes what he has, and he's able to adapt and adjust on the fly, and he's proven that time and time again. Maybe Travis Kelce will begin to perk up nearing playoff time. That's what a lot of people were talking about anyways from the beginning of this season. Because as we all know, that man's on his last legs. Like I think this may be the season where he calls it, after this season, he calls it quit.
Yeah. Really great to see Ricky Pearsall back. He was a victim of a mugging where he ended up getting shot through the chest. Amazingly enough, he's recovered enough to play. Spectacular amount of cheering for him when he entered the game and when he got his first catch. 3 catches for 21 yards. Incredible that he was able to survive this ordeal and actually end up playing football a few months later. It's an amazing story, and unbelievable. He was a first-round draft pick coming in with all sorts of promise, has to endure this. It's amazing that he's back, and really great to see.
Yeah, amazing that he's back. Amazing that he's still breathing air and still alive. And first and foremost. And now with all these injuries to the 49ers, he's going to be playing for the rest of the season, period. Yeah. They're going to need him and going to need his production.
Chiefs go to Vegas and play the division rival Raiders. That's Sunday in the later window, 1:25. 49ers host the Cowboys Sunday nighter. That'll be good because those teams have always had great rivalries through the 80s and the 90s. They'll bring up a lot of footage from some of their battles over the years, and both teams are struggling right now. So big, very important pivotal game. Sunday nighter will be fun next week.
Yeah, Sunday night's going to be great. Going to be a great game. It's going to be just nice to see a good football game.
As I mentioned, the Chiefs play the Raiders. The Raiders played the Rams, and the Rams were able to squeak out a 20-15 victory. Rams are 2-4. Raiders are 2-5. Rams used Kyron Williams and some great defense to beat the Raiders. Williams had touchdown runs of 13 yards and 2 yards. Matthew Stafford didn't do very much. They just utilized that great running game. The defense was amazing, holding Raiders to 5 field goals. Were not able to ever get in the end zone. They knocked out Aiden O'Connell with a broken thumb. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. Gardner Minshew came in and threw 3 picks. So Rams defense, that running attack, Raiders, Daniel Carlson, all 5 field goals, no other scoring for them. And down to only Gardner Minshew as the quarterback now in Vegas, and 2-5. No Devontae Adams, no hope with this team going forward, really.
Their only bright spot, I would say, going forward on offense is Brock Bowers. He was actually pretty good, 10 receptions, 93 yards. And on defense is obviously Max Crosby. Max Crosby is going to be Max Crosby, but the Raiders are not going to be very good for the rest of this season. I think it's the writing's on the wall.
Yeah. Rams got to get healthy with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua coming back, so they had to utilize a different game plan and got the win. The Rams host the Vikings. That's the Thursday game coming up in a few days here. And I already mentioned the Raiders and play the Chiefs. Okay, sticking with the NFC West, let's talk about the Cardinals. This is the the last game of week 7. This is the Monday night game. Starts at 6 o'clock Pacific time. Kickoff 9 o'clock Pacific or 9 o'clock Eastern. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites. The over under is 44.5. So could be a fairly high scoring battle here. Good to hear that Marvin Harrison has cleared concussion protocol and will play in the game tonight. He was hurt against Green Bay, and he's had an okay start to his career. 17 catches, 279 yards, and 4 touchdowns in his rookie year. Drafted 4th overall out of Ohio State, but I know this guy's going to have a fantastic career if he can stay healthy.
Yes, he will absolutely have it. Like he's got the lineage.
Yeah,
he absolutely has the lineage. So I think all he's got to do is stay healthy as he can. And I think Kyler's going to trust in him to throw him the ball, that if he throws it to that side, he's going to come down with it, which he will, because Marvin Harrison, he's awesome. He's already proven it. He's a great player.
I'm actually looking forward to this game tonight. There's 2 games tonight. We'll talk about the second one in a bit here, but yeah, should be fun. Nice battle between the Chargers and Cardinals. Cannot wait for that. Let's talk about one of the games of the weekend, and this was a really great game because it was for a battle for the NFC North division title. Well, not division title yet, but for the top of the division. The Lions ended up pulling out a 31-29 victory with a late field goal. A missed 2-point convert loomed really large for the Vikings, or they would have had an overtime game probably. This was a hell of a good battle. Lions end up winning 31-29. Lions are 5-1. Vikings fall to 5-1. First loss of the year. And great game. Loved it. I absolutely loved this game. Back and forth battle.
Back and forth battle. It was, absolutely back and forth battle. Love the fact that the team that had the ball last won the game. And as I was watching this game, I was like, really can't find fault with too many people here. No. It was just a really, really good game. Like a really good game. I saw it. Sam Darnold was great. Justin Jefferson, his guy was fantastic. 7 receptions, 81 yards, and 1 touchdown. The guy that really did the grunt work, I thought, for the Lions was Jamar Gibbs with 15 carries, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 receptions for another 44 yards. He was great.
Yeah.
He was great.
The game-winning field goal was with 15 seconds left. Jake Bates hit a 44-yarder. The Vikes were up 10-zip. Then Detroit got 3 straight touchdowns to be up 21-10. They were leading by 11 then. They were still leading by 11 when it was 28-17. And then Minnesota ended up getting some late scores and really making it a close game. You're right. Gibbs looked great. That 1-2 punch of Gibbs and Montgomery. They're calling them Sonic and Knuckles. That's their new nickname. That's kind of a funny nickname of the two. The other guy that had a great game was Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 100 yards receiving with a touchdown there. Goff looked good. And it was a nice battle between Goff and Darnold. I thought Darnold looked good. Aaron Jones back was really key for Minnesota too. I was surprised they were still undefeated and doing so well without Jones in there, but he ended up having over 100 yards and a touchdown too. And they fall to the ranks of they are not unbeaten anymore. And if the Chiefs were able to get beat, then the Miami Dolphins were of the 72 team are cracking the bottles of champagne and downing it, the only undefeated team in NFL history. But Chiefs are the only one still undefeated. The Vikings go to the Rams, as I mentioned earlier. That's the Thursday game. Should be good for the Vikes. The Lions host the Titans Sunday in the early window there. The Packers sit in 3rd place in the North. As I mentioned last week, I'll say it again, the NFC North, best division in football by far. Packers sit in 3rd place with a 5-2 record. Bears had a bye. They are 4-2. sitting in the basement so far. This Packers-Texans game was another great battle. Not as big offensively as the one we just talked about, but this one had 7 lead changes between the Packers and the Texans. Packers ended up squeaking out a 24-22 win. And Packers 5-2. Texans also are 5-2. Brandon McManus. This is the third kicker that the Packers have utilized this year. McManus came in and kicked the game-winning field goal right as time expired to get the victory. Jordan Love outplayed C.J. Stroud, and the Packers got the win.
Yeah, the Packers got the win. Even though the Texans had Love turn over the ball twice with 2 interceptions, but he still had 3 touchdowns. Jacobs was really good, 12 carries to 76 yards, another 5 receptions that had included a touchdown as well. This just demonstrated like 2 of the top teams in NFL going at it, and this is what happens. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be back and forth. And then the team that had the ball last, they're the team that won the game.
Yeah. It was a really good back and forth battle. This might have been C.J. Stroud's worst game as a pro. He only had 86 yards passing, no touchdowns. Just really wasn't able to find his receivers enough. Joe Mixon was the guy that got the ball a ton through the game. 27 touches, 25 on the ground for 115 yards and a couple TDs, a couple of catches there. Tyler Kraft is becoming one of the best tight ends in the game. The touchdown that he got, Jordan Love just threw an absolute dart to him, and it's amazing the hands that this guy's got for such a big man. He's got really soft hands, and I think this is going to be a dynamic duo for many, many years to come.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He's really good, and he gives the Packers that option at tight end so that he can get the ball out to him, and he knows it's going to be caught. He just has to get it in his airspace.
They're getting quite a bit of weapons there. I like Dobbs there. Jacobs is great. Dontavian Wicks had a touchdown, and they look pretty formidable. And this is going to be an amazing battle in this NFC North all season long. Packers go to the Jags Sunday. Should be an easy game for them. The Texans host the Colts. Both play in that early window. Okay, we just mentioned the later Monday Night Football game. We have an earlier Monday Night Football game that happens tonight. And this is the game that I'm focusing my most attention on for sure early on. The Bucks and the Ravens should be a great battle. Both teams come in 4-2. The Bucks sit on top of the NFC South right now with that 4-2 record. Falcons are next at 4-3. Saints 2-5, and the Panthers are 1-6. But Baker against Lamar, looking forward to it beyond belief. Should be great. Baltimore is a 3.5-point favorite, and over-unders 49.5. I think this is another one of those games where who holds the ball last is going to win.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is the game that I definitely am very much interested in watching. I want to watch this game. I want to know if in Baker we trust. Is he going to come through again? Yeah. 2 great teams, great dynamic teams going at it. Can't wait to watch it.
Going to be really great. So after tonight, the next game for the Bucks is their Falcons. They host the Falcons, and then the Ravens go to Cleveland, play the Browns, division rival there. Okay. We got to talk about the Thursday nighter now. Talking about the Broncos beating the Saints 33-10. Broncos are now 4-3 under Bo Nix. Saints have fallen to 2-5. Saints were coming out of the gate. They looked amazing first couple games. Lost 5 in a row now. The Broncos used Javonte Williams, Will Lutz, and a great defense to get this big win over the Saints. Williams was fantastic with a couple of touchdowns, over 100 yards. Lutz was 4 for 4 in his field goals. And Bo Nix was just okay, good enough. And Broncos got a huge one.
Yeah, Nix, you did well carrying the ball, 10 carries for 75 yards. And he didn't turn over the ball. More importantly, he did not turn over the ball.
Very
yeah,
key,
so
very key.
So he did good. I don't know about this Rattler fella. I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. I don't know if he has it in him to get the Saints a couple of wins that they're going to need, because I don't like, how long is Dave Carr supposed to be out? Like, how long is he?
Week to week is what they're saying.
I think they say week to week.
Yeah,
because they need him back like now.
Yeah,
like today.
They
would be
tried
good.
out. They tried out this guy Jake Herner, 3 for 4, 38 yards and a touchdown pass. He threw more touchdowns than Rattler did when Rattler was in. We'll see. Yeah, it's tough there for the Saints. They came out with so much promise this year and looked fantastic. I don't know how Alvin Kamara got shut down so badly in this game. I don't remember seeing numbers like this from Kamara. He had the ball 13 times and only got 24 yards. Pretty rough. Don't know how they shut him down or why, but yeah, it's tough in Saints land for sure. They go play the LA Chargers in LA this coming Sunday, later window, and the Broncos host the Panthers, as I mentioned. Okay, now we get to shed light on the rest of the games. AFC East, we've got the Bills sitting atop of the AFC East at 5-2. Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots are falling back. Dolphins 2-4, Jets 2-5 now, and the Patriots 1-6. Bills got a really great 34-10 victory over Tennessee. Tennessee was up 10-zip. There's actually 3 games on this slate on Sunday where the team that lost were up 10-0 and then just got shut down the rest of the day. This was the case there. The Bills just steamrolled them. The new addition, Amari Cooper, had a touchdown. Josh Allen had a fantastic game. Utilized all his weapons very heavily. And DeMar Hamlin with a big pick was great. Great to see. The defense forced a fumble, a pick, had 3 sacks, and yeah, the juggernaut Bills just easily stomped on the Titans here.
Yeah, they did, as they should have. So I saw that Rudolph started. Did they bench Levis? Or is Levis injured?
No, actually Levis got hurt. He got hurt somehow. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to say right away, where I'm like, I'm pretty sure Levis got injured, because there's no other way that Rudolph would have seen the field, because they believe in Levis so much. Like this, which is,
I thought
find
Rudolph played okay. I thought he actually had a fairly decent game, but yeah, I don't know. Like Levis, no, they just keep going back to him and he's doing nothing. But yeah, no, he picked up some kind of injury and couldn't play.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so the Bills did exactly what they should have done against the Titans, which is smash them.
Yeah,
which is what they did. It got a little bit like concerning since the Titans went up by 10-0. You're like, oh, what's happening here? What's happening here? But then Allen's like, don't worry, I got it. They're not going to beat us. And that threw for 2 touchdowns, 300 yards, like you just said. Coleman was his favorite receiver on the day with 4 receptions for 125 yards. And it was great to see Amari Cooper, because I'm sure that he is over the moon.
Oh, happy.
Oh, so like that he's just out of purgatory.
Oh my
God. He got out of purgatory and he's into the light. He's like, he's in the celestial realm of the Bills, and he's just like, oh, feels so good here.
Yeah. I would have loved to see him walking into the stadium. The strut he must have been having on, like going from the outhouse to the penthouse. Pretty awesome feeling.
Yes, and I think he must have felt like that. And I think he had a great strut, because now he's got a chance to. Before he was on the Browns, no playoffs, no hope, no future.
Yeah.
Only despair. Now he's on the Bills. It's like there's future, there's hope, there's food, there's everything. Yeah. I love this place.
I was a little concerned for him, because I think it was the first pass of the game to him. He dropped it. And he leads the NFL with 11 drops this season. And a lot of coaches, once a guy drops it, they just sort of drop them off the game plan and they sort of get put in purgatory. But Josh and him ended up having that nice touchdown connection, and yeah, he really showed that probably those 10 drops I had in Cleveland weren't all my fault. So let's give me a better shot here, and yeah, from purgatory to great situation there. Keon Coleman, you mentioned him. He had his first 100-yard receiving game of his career, so nice to see him contributing as well. Additions like this help all the receivers, help the running game, help an offense completely, because you can't key on these guys anymore. So, pick your poison, and the other guy's going to be able to get some yardage, get some, opportunities, open field. So, very, very massively smart move what Buffalo did. Not taking on much salary, if really at all, anything, and being able to add a guy that can, catch the ball when they need him to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that one of the main parts of the fact is that they're not taking on a huge salary. They've basically got him for a song and a dance. So
almost next to
excellent
nothing.
addition for the Bills. Brilliant. Excellent addition.
I can't believe all teams weren't lining up to get this guy
Yeah.
out of there, like,
yeah, I know.
Count, like unreal. Josh Allen threw his 236th touchdown. This was his 100th NFL game. 236 touchdown in his 100th game. Mahomes had 237. He had his 100th game a little earlier this year. And Aaron Rodgers, 241 and 100, leads the NFL for the most touchdowns ever in your first 100 games. So very elite company for Josh Allen there. The Bills go to Seattle. They play the Seahawks on Sunday. Hopefully DK Metcalf isn't hurt for long, and we'll be able to be there too. They can have big weapons against each other. Titans go to Detroit, play the Lions. It'll be a very tough battle. Easy for Detroit probably here to get another big victory. Okay, let's talk about the Dolphins here. It's shocking that Tua Tagovailoa can make such a massive difference to the Miami Dolphins. It's stunning. They have just fallen off the map since Tua's went down with his concussion, and he's back this week. So, if he can shake off the rust, if he can stay concussion free, all of a sudden Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will be able to celebrate and party. They were held to 2 catches for 19 yards. Those 2 weapons. It's unbelievable that they can't get a guy to throw the ball to these 2 guys. And they just looked sad. Another game where they go up 10-0 and then just shut it down. Couldn't do nothing else. Colts just chipped away, not too much. Anthony Richardson was able to get a 16-10 win. Colts are 4-3. Dolphins are 2-4. So good for Dolphins that Tua's back this week. Amazing to see that he's cleared concussion protocol. He will be back, and maybe Dolphins now have a chance to do something the rest of the year.
That offensive line better protect that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you right now, that offensive line better protect that dude, because this is what your future is without him. It's bleak, it's dark,
ugly.
And there is no hope. So you better protect him if you want a future.
Yeah.
Right? And for Tua himself, all right, if you're gonna run out of that pocket, slide, buddy. Sliding is your best friend. Do not try to take on defenders. Just slide. Slide away.
I wonder if him and Anthony Richardson had any type of conversation before or after this game, because both of them, have had their concussion problems, have had their issues, staying healthy, being on the field. I compared them when Tua went down earlier this year. Richardson went down as well. He comes back in this game. Doesn't really do much, but at least they got the win, and hopefully they had a conversation on how to both stay healthy.
Yeah, well, because for Richardson, he did run the ball 14 times for 56 yards, and he didn't get hurt.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's like somebody, maybe Joe Flacco got in his ear and said, "You see what an old man does is he slides." I know you.
I saw him got hit. I see him got hit on a couple of occasions though. Yeah. He still doesn't quite get it. Like he's still, too big for his own good.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you got to remember, it's like you may feel like you're sturdy, but like there's only one guy that I've seen that goes, no, I don't slide because I don't get hurt. That's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You're not that dude. I'm sorry, man. You're not that dude. You're not
Not at
that
all.
guy. You
No.
got to slide, man. I thought it was pretty cool to see Godson for the Colts. He scored himself a touchdown. I don't know where he came from, to be honest with you, but he's a pretty good running back for the Colts. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he's definitely helped. The Dolphins had Tim Boyle and Tyler Huntley. Boyle had 74 yards, Huntley had 87. Rough. It's unbelievable how the mighty have fallen. A-Chain was the only guy. Oh, Jonnu Smith and A-Chain were the two guys that had anything, but you got Hill and Waddle. Like those guys were lighting it up last year with Tua, and
Yeah.
they can't do nothing anymore without Tua. It's pretty insane, pretty wild. It'll be great to see Tua back. The Dolphins host the Cardinals. That's in the early window Sunday, and as I mentioned, Colts go to Houston, play the Texans. Okay, let's talk about the Jets now. Jets are 2-5. This Sunday nighter was kind of intriguing because we had the new look Jets against the new look Steelers. We had Russell Wilson finally getting his first chance and finally getting an opportunity to play. And we get Devontae Adams, the new weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And I thought this was going to be a heck of a good battle. Really, unfortunately, the Steelers just made this a beatdown. Jets were up 15-6, and then Pittsburgh came on, scored the last 36 points. Russell Wilson looked great. He looked really good. I haven't seen him look this good in a few seasons, a few years. Nice to see Pittsburgh finally had a quarterback that could produce a ton of yardage for them through the air, and very, very, very big win for them.
Huge win.
Yeah.
Huge win. Collinsworth said it best, is that one of Russ's best gifts he has as a quarterback is the touch with the football and dropping it in the basket, which he did on a number of times.
Lots
to
of
Pickens, who had a touchdown and 111 yards. Fryermuth had a fantastic one-handed catch from him dropping it in the bucket.
Yep.
Najee Harris had a great game running the ball, 102 yards and a touchdown. I'm just impressed. I was impressed with the fact that Wilson got in there, showed what he still had,
Yeah.
and got, I think it was the biggest win of the Steelers so far this year, with putting up 37 points. So if he can continue to keep doing that, cool, awesome. That'll be great. But at the same time, I do want to mention this. There was many times I saw, because Wilson doesn't take off with the ball anymore. That's not what he does.
No.
And there was a couple times that if Fields had been in there, you could see that Fields would have taken like a couple long runs because he has the legs to do that. So far so good.
Yeah.
With the Steelers and them putting in Russ in. So let's see what he does for the next game. And as for Aaron Rodgers, man, he's out there battling, but he still had 2 interceptions. He turned over the ball 2 times. His favorite receiver, unfortunately, wasn't Devontae Adams. It was Breece Hall with 6 receptions for 103 yards. And he also rushed the ball for another 38 yards. It just, I don't know. Sometimes something's not clicking quite right with the Jets right now.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, strange. Yeah, they seem to have, with Devontae there, they seem to have great weapons. Breece Hall is fantastic. Garrett Wilson is a beast. Lazard's had a great season already, but Beanie Bishop is probably going to be keeping Aaron Rodgers up for the next couple of days. Picked them off twice, and really was key to keeping the Jets down. Russell Wilson's the first Steelers quarterback to lead them to 30-plus points in a starting debut in the history of the Steelers. In the history of the Steelers, first guy to get more than 30 points. The last time Pittsburgh scored 35 points and earned 400 yards in a regular season game was week 10 of the 2018 season. Yeah, they have not had good quarterbacking there in a very long time. And Mike Tomlin said he actually went a bit kamikaze. He went a little bit rogue. He said he just actually decided I'm gonna go with Russ now. We're 4-2 going into this game, and Fields has been okay, but I'm going with Russ. And he said he had pushback from a lot of places, and he said no. I just thought this was the time. Put him in place. I'm not going to give him a short leash. I'm actually going to make sure he's going to be in place for a few games. And for Steelers fans and for Steelers Nation, this was the best quarterbacking performance we've seen in a long, long, long time there.
Yeah, and I guess he proved himself right for this game so far.
Yeah.
I think I've been on record already saying that I thought it would be a mistake to put him in. I thought Fields was playing well enough. But I guess he did say I believe Tomlin's been on record to say, I wanted to know what we have, and I don't want any question marks. I don't want any question marks going forward with this team. I want to know exactly what we have with both of these guys.
If I was Tomlin, I would be taking Justin Fields. I'd go over to his locker. I'd say, hey, come with me for a sec. I'd take him on to this back office, and I would hook him up to a polygraph test. And I would say, Justin, how much have you ever practiced throwing these nice little balls that we saw Russell throw? Because something's seriously wrong where you're just throwing these straight balls and they're not working for us. So, look over at your teammate here and see how he's throwing the ball. I think if you can implement that into your game, you might be able to stay in the league.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that he doesn't have that. Like, where I don't know, like, it'd just be an assumption of me. It's like, if you're a quarterback, you can throw every sort of pass.
Everything.
You kind of have to.
Make it, your repertoire is got it all.
It's got it all. And especially if you're in the NFL, because you made it there somehow. So that means that you should have this in your repertoire. And if you don't have it in your repertoire, then you keep practicing to make sure that it is a part of your repertoire.
Yeah.
Right? So
ask him, while he's got the polygraph on him, have you ever thrown a ball like this? And show him the video. Show him that one. That throw to Pickens, this throw to Freiermuth, this one over here. Have you ever done this? Okay. Ask him, are you going to practice this? Are you going to get this in your repertoire? Can we count on you? Because you're our quarterback. Russell Wilson's not going to be there. Probably after next year, though, Russell Wilson will not be on the Steelers. So Fields is the guy they really want to turn to and hand the keys over and going forward into the next 4 or 5 years. They really want Fields to be the guy, but if he's not willing to get the whole package, then maybe they just can't trust him.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they just can't trust him because, again, that should be something that should be in his wheelhouse to do, and I guess he just hasn't shown that yet. So hopefully, with more mentorship and mentoring, maybe he can develop that into a skill.
So the Jets have fired their coach. They have demoted their play caller. They have signed traded for Devontae Adams, signed him. And now Hassan Reddick has entered the building. They finally were able to get him pen to paper, came in today, restructured a contract, put in a whole bunch of incentives for the rest of this year so he can recoup the $9 million that he has lost. And he will be playing this coming Sunday for the Jets. They're trying everything. They're pulling at everything that they can to turn this thing around. 2-5. This was not how it's supposed to be with Aaron Rodgers coming back and putting all these pieces in place. Hopefully Hassan will be able to get up to speed soon, but I guess, trying everything that they can.
Yeah, no, and as they should be, trying everything that they can. And I think with this loss, that definitely solidified like the speed of, okay, let's just get this done and get this guy in, because we need all the help we can get at this point in time. All of it.
They play the Patriots, division rival Patriots, this coming Sunday. New England's 1-6, so should be able to get on track there. The Steelers host the New York Giants, and we saw how easy it was for Saquon. I can see Najee Harris having an absolutely amazing game against the Giants. That's the Monday nighter. There's only one Monday nighter coming up next week, a week from tonight. Goes 5:15, so not exactly the barn burner, but Steelers should be able to get another win, going to 6-2 under Russell Wilson. Okay, talking about the Patriots, they were beaten by the Jaguars 32-16. This was another London game, an early game on Sunday. The Patriots were another one of those teams that were up 10-zip and then just basically just said, okay, that's it for us. We're done. And gave up touchdowns big time to the Jags. And the Jags were able to get a really convincingly easy win, 32-16. Get back on track. Trevor Lawrence was pretty good. He had Tank was really the driving force behind this. 26 carries for 118 yards and a couple TDs, and everybody ate that game. Everybody had good games.
Yeah, everybody had good games, is what the Jags really needed. Thomas Jr. was great, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. I guess if there's a bright spot that could be said for the Patriots, it's that Drake May didn't turn over the ball, threw for 2 touchdowns.
He actually looked good.
So he looked good.
Yeah, he actually looked good. So good for them. They have a lot of guys that are returning for their defense, and they were really known under Belichick last year. They just couldn't get going offensively, but they still had a good defense. They got called out by the coach and said they're a soft team. And that's kind of one of the most slanderous things that an NFL team can hear. I think a lot of these guys are going to get pretty pissed to hearing that. I think that, he really called them out and said, this team is not winning and it's because we're soft. It's not a good thing to hear.
No, it's not a good thing to hear. Usually when you hear the word soft, you say that to an NFL player, you might get yourself into a fight.
Yeah.
And a big one at that. So hopefully, I obviously he's looking to spark his defense when he says inflammatory remarks like that. So hopefully that does it. But if it doesn't, well, I guess golf is in their future sooner than later. Yeah.
Speaking of coaches, they did actually allow Doug Peterson to get on the plane with the rest of the team. They didn't charter, put him on coach and send him off somewhere else to purgatory. They were in London for a couple of weeks and had a horrible loss last week, 2-5 now, and Peterson still running the show there. We'll see if that's the case after next weekend. Hosting the Packers Sunday in the early window, and as I mentioned, Patriots and the Jets.
Yeah. Hey, Doug needed to win that. Doug knew that he needed to win that if he wanted to go home back to the States. So then he did it. He got it done. So he was able to get on that plane.
Yeah. We've talked about all the AFC West teams. The Chiefs are leading the AFC West with 6-0. The Chargers second at 3-2, playing tonight. Broncos 4-3 and third, and Raiders at the bottom 2-5. Chiefs, as I mentioned, only unbeaten team in the league. And I looked at their entire schedule rest of the year. They only have 3 or 4 tough games. The rest of the schedule looks very doable. Trying to see if this team has the potential to go 17-0. Their next tough game is against the Bucks on the November 4th. That's the Monday nighter. Should be a hell of a great game to watch. The Bills, November 17th in Buffalo. Always tough to play in November in Buffalo. They play the Texans on the 21st, and then they play 4 days later against the Steelers on Christmas Day in Pittsburgh. So 4 tough games. If they can win all 4 of those games, I'm saying 17-0. I don't think they will, especially having those 2 games within 4 days. Texans and Steelers is going to be tough. But that Bucks Monday nighter on November 4th, man, should be a hell of a game.
No, that'll be a great game. That'll be a great game to watch. That'll be exciting. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that game. But like right now, the Chiefs are they just continue to keep finding ways to win. But more importantly than anything else, they're really leaning on that defense of theirs, which has been stellar so far this year.
Yeah, exactly. Last game to talk about here. This one was a NFC North division battle. We had Oh, sorry. This is a battle between AFC North, Bengals and Browns. Bengals ended up pulling out a 21-14 win. The biggest cheer that happened in Cleveland was when Deshaun Watson actually got his torn Achilles tendon. They cheered like crazy when he got put on the cart and he left in tears, knowing that his season was done. It has gone very sour there. They are still on the hook for him for 2 more years. His cap hit both years is $72.9 million. Will still count, even though he's injured, and will not play the rest of this year and might take even into next year to get back. But pretty bad to hear any fans cheering over a guy getting hurt and getting carted off. Pretty rough there how the mighty have fallen, and it's not going to be good for at least 2 more years there.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's rough. It's not right to cheer for somebody when they get a serious injury, but at the same time, you gotta understand where they're coming from. But it's, you probably should be a little bit better about that. But you know what? Even with that being said, I do have it written in my notes. Blessing in disguise for the Browns.
If
Possibly.
Joe Flacco was still there, I think
still
definitely way better. DTR, don't think he's the guy.
I don't. No,
So,
no, man. Like at least like he's a threat to run, but yeah, the Browns, it's just rough. How about this? This is what I will say for the Browns. The lone bright spot for the Browns was seeing Nick Chubb back
yeah,
in action. Got himself a
little
touchdown.
more than a year he had been out, so great to see him.
Yeah, I was super pumped for that.
Yeah.
And now, like, if I'm a Browns fan, I'm like, well, at least we got Chubb. At least we got Nick Chubb back.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was great to see. Great to see him out there again. But it's dark down there, and for the Browns fans, and like, and whatever, man. Like, Watson still has that court case he still has to deal with, and all that other stuff off the field.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to focus on that, whatever, and his rehab and all that other stuff. Yeah. Burrow was great, 2 touchdowns, 181 yards. The Bengals just keep on rolling. But this was a game that they were supposed to win.
Did you see that? Did you see that great video of Deshaun, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick all heading to the massage parlor? that looked pretty great.
I sent you that one. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I had a great laugh. That Riot Comedy, they're the ones that do those skits, and they're usually spot on. They are very, very good.
They have just hilarious. They just come up with the most hilarious things all the time, and oh my god, it's so freaking great. Yeah, they are spot on, those dudes. I think Jameis Winston actually will be the starter for them this coming week, and we'll see how it plays out. And I just have to mention AFC South. The Texans lead the division 5-2, even though they lost to Green Bay. They play the Colts on Sunday, early window. The Colts sit in second place, 4-3, with the 16-10 win over Miami. Jags are in third, 2-5, looking like they could probably get another victory in this coming week. And the Titans host the Titans are last in the AFC South, and they have to play Detroit, so could be tough there. That's the NFL story. We have the UFC to cover. I know we've been taking forever, but let's cover it. Wasn't the greatest card for sure. This was Vegas 99. I can't believe 99 events at the friggin' Apex. Brutal. UFC Fight Night 245. 11 fights, 9 decisions. So there was only $50K handed out to three guys. Fight of the night, and a $50K bonus to the winner of the main event. This was a titanic battle between 2 of the toughest MFers you're ever going to see on the planet in the middleweight division. 13 and 14 in the world. Man, the middleweights are tough. Holy crap. We saw a battle between Anthony Fluffy Hernandez against Michel Demolidor Pereira, and Pereira tried his best to get him out of there early, landed a few good shots and had Fluffy in all sorts of trouble. He was able to weather the storm, withstand the absolute brutal assault, and luckily the ref didn't jump in there and stop this thing, because Fluffy just said, okay, thanks for the beating, and now it's my turn. He took it over and he just laid an absolute massive beating on Pereira. I don't think it was to do that he got gassed on trying to do that fight. I think just Fluffy is such a tough guy that he just can take a beating and just give it back in spades after.
Yeah, I absolutely, because it would have really sucked if the ref could have stopped that fight early.
Yeah.
He could have.
Yeah.
But I think the ref also knew, it's like, no, this dude's super tough. He can take it. Yeah. I think some refs actually,
I think reputation was there for
the reputation's there, and I think some refs absolutely know that. It's like, it may look bad to us, but he knows, since he's in there, and he goes, no, this guy can take it.
I've seen this guy get beat before and come back like a zombie. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. And he came back. Like, you have to hit a huge knockout blow for this guy to be out of the fight. Because if you do not do that, this is what happens in the second round. All of a sudden, he's putting on the pressure. He's pressuring Pereira. Pereira's getting tired because he's leaning on him. He's leaning on him. Now he's grappling him. Now he's wrestling him. Now he's wrestling to the ground. Because before, Pereira was doing good with his takedown defense, popping back up. But Fluffy's like, that's cool. I'm just going to keep doing it again, over and over and over and over and over. I'm never going to stop. No. And then that's when Pereira, I think in the third or fourth round, goes, geez, this man is never going to stop. He's never going to stop doing this to me. And then that's what he did over and over again. Oh, did you get up? Cool. I'm just going to put you right back down again. And then beat you up again. It was awesome to see, because that's how Hernandez fights. And you have to know that. You have to know that you go into a fight with this man, either you take him out, or else that's what you're going to have to deal with. Yeah. For 5 rounds, you're going to have to deal with that. Yeah. And eventually, that's when the ref said in the 5th round, is like, I think you've had enough, son. You're good. You were good.
Yeah, and Pereira looked pissed. He was like,
yeah, he was
I'm still here. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, the wrestling.
Both these guys are the toughest. The toughest. It's insane. Pereira comes in on an 8-fight win streak, and Hernandez comes in on a 5-fight win streak. It's incredible that they're ranked 13th and 14th in the division. Hernandez said he couldn't believe how tough this guy was. He said he's one of the strongest guys I've ever fought, and I can't believe he ever fought at 170. What the hell? This is a stunning shock, and it was unreal, just crazy. Hernandez ended up setting a couple records. He set the record with the largest amount of disparity in strikes, 219 to 29, unreal. 152 significant strikes to 24. And also he set a record for the most attempted takedowns of 29 attempted takedowns. He ended up securing 10 of them. And almost every time he had the guy down, he was just grounding and pounding him. Yep. And, 99.9% of lesser men would have tapped out, would have not got off their stool, would have given up long ago. Pereira, you got to give it to him. He deserves a ton of credit for even sticking in this fight. Hernandez got $50K bonus. I think both of them deserved it, really, and should have both got it. But amazing performance for Hernandez, and the trajectory is up from here. The rankings, I do have to mention that Dana White put out a posting earlier in the week and said he's super, super pissed at the rankings. He is disgusted at how they are put together. He needs to get in a room with them all and sort this out, figure out who they got to fire, figure out who they got to promote, who they got to get in there and change this whole thing. Hopefully he's able to do this, because I've always had problem with the rankings. So have a lot of other people, and it's really bizarre. The thing that really pissed him off the most was after Khalil Roundtree had such an incredible performance against Alex Pereira the week before. They just did not move Roundtree's rankings at all. He stayed at number 8, and he said that was just super stupid and ridiculous. He couldn't even believe that that happened. But I'm glad he's doing it, and it opened up a whole big can of worms. But I'm glad that they're looking at the ranking system and trying to, make it better.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm glad about that too. The one thing I don't want to see though is that if he just takes ultimate control and it's all of a sudden not objective. Because
Right.
I think he made a comment about that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not good with that. UFC should just not have control of the rankings, period, and be like, nah, no, we'll do it from now on, and no outside talk or outside influence whatsoever. I'm like, that's not super objective, but it should be fixed. I don't know how they're going to go about doing it, but it'd be great if they finally found some sort of way or some sort of formula to figure it out.
I don't know how far this goes back, but I got a list that was posted on Reddit, and it has all the people that are in charge of the rankings. And
Okay.
it I don't want to throw any shade on anybody. I'm sure these people are all wonderful people, and I'm sure, they do their best, but honestly, like almost every one of these organizations is not relevant. They don't they don't produce content that I ever see. I looked and tried to find some of them online and see, if they're putting up current stuff of the UFC. I don't see any of it. It's in shock. It shocked me, the people that are listed here. So they've got a radio station called KOHN from Honolulu. They have something called MMA Odds Breaker. They've got a radio station here named CFMU 93.3. They have something called Gazerta Esportiva, something called Cherokee Scout, Burbank Leader, another radio station, KIOZ 105.3. They have something called the Wrestling Observer, Top Turtle Podcast. Have not heard of that one. MMA Fight Radio. Okay, maybe something legit there. Boxeo Mundial, Kimura SE, MMA Soldier, MMA NYTT, Blood and Sweat, Inside Fighting Radio, and they also have the Canadian Fight Network, which doesn't really have any content anymore, and Fight News. Jesus, like pretty brutal. Like I think these people were given the ability to do the rankings 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago, who knows how long. And most of them aren't even like the top people that you would go to try to find any MMA information. It's a shock, and it's weird. I'm surprised that we haven't heard this kind of stuff coming out a lot before this. It's strange that these guys are in charge of the sport and ranking these fighters, which really impacts their lives, the money they can make, the ability to make great matchups on the UFC. Just so much of the sport is in the hands of people that aren't really relevant to me in covering the sport.
Well, at least some of the organizations that you listed off had fight in it or MMA in it. So
Yeah.
that was good. That's a good start, I guess. But no, you're absolutely right. Like I think it's important that if you're gonna have rankings, then you have to have people that should or had the vested interest in MMA,
No.
in seeing this. Maybe they're former fighters, former refs, former judges, like people of that ilk. Maybe not former judges, I take that back. Former refs or former fighters.
Yeah.
All right. Like,
Yeah.
but somebody like that's the people that should be ranking their peers, because it's like, oh, I've been through it, I know. Right. You know what I mean? Like, like where people like Chuck Playdell or something like that, maybe not Matt Hughes, brain's not so good, but people like that. Sorry about that. But anyways, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was a little low. But you know what I mean? But people like that. So those people, those are the ones that you need to have to rank these fighters.
Yeah.
That's what you need to have done. So if you have people like that, then that's legitimacy. But all those organizations, radio stations you just listed off, Cool. I didn't know they did that at all.
I would have dug deeper into this, and maybe I will going into next week, or when Dana White finally comes out and says, I ended up having figured out change of this, but oh my God, what the little deep dives I did into any of these organizations, and oh my God, it's ridiculous. It's a stunning shock, and there's a lot about the sport that needs to change, but I just really didn't realize how badly this needs to change in that department. And if you're ranked high up, you're getting bigger fights, you're getting paid way more on your contracts. The guys that are suddenly ranked much lower are only able to garner tens of thousands of dollars instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's impacting so many people that I'm shocked that the MMA fighters haven't been asking for this for years and trying to change this, because this is in the hands of people that aren't really totally dug into the sport like the fighters are, and like the people like you and I are. It's stunning to me. It's another just really insane aspect of this sport that's pretty new, 30 years into its infancy. Man, it should be figured out in all areas of this.
No, yeah, man, it should be figured out. I'm glad Dana's actually then shone a light on it to say this is something that has to change. It's getting to a point of ridiculously. And you're absolutely right. Anything that affects a person's pay, what they're able to make and stuff like that, affects like their well-being, like what they can make for their family going forward. Very important. Like and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it does. Okay, let's talk about the co-main event. Rob Font, Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips was the betting favorite on this card and was supposed to really dispatch Rob Font, but Rob Font said, "Hey man, I'm the veteran. I'm going to show you." After the first round, I thought Phillips won. Rob Font ended up taking over, and the great thing was that he went to Montreal to TriStar for Hobby and fought with the guys that really molded George St. Pierre's incredible career and have really worked with a lot of great fighters over the years. He went there. They said the game plan is to not let him take you friggin' down. Keep this fight standing. You'll be able to beat him in the stand-up. And that's what he did. And he stuck to the game plan and got a really, really solid victory.
He got a solid victory. Phillips had success in the first round by taking him down and such. And it's almost like Faraz Sahabi in that next round, like right after that first round, said, "Remember what we practiced?
Yeah.
The takedown defense and getting up and stuff and not accepting the position. Start using that now. Don't accept the position when he takes you down. Hop back up, keep it standing, keep it fighting, use them hands, and teach him a lesson. Teach him that there's levels to this game." And he did. He got that done, because I've always thought that was the one weakness in Font's game, that if you take him down, he's easy to keep down.
Yeah.
This time, with the change in coaching and everything else, it seems that he's fixed that wrinkle to his game.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Yeah. Calvin Kattar, was there too, and is a very great striker, and I think is very influential on his career. But I'm really glad he made that move, and he listened to his coach. You could see the change, happen between the first and second round, and I've always had massive respect for Asahabi and what he's done for martial arts from this country, and it's great to see him still relevant in the sport and helping guys like Rob Font stay in the top 10 and dispatch the younger guy who was expected to win. Great to see. The flyweight fight between Charles Johnson and Sue Mataraji. I liked Energi's performance. He fought great. This is a super tough guy. I hate his skullet, but really good to see him. This was his fourth fight in 2024, the only fighter that have fought this much on the UFC roster. And nice to see him get a really good win at flyweight and dispatch a tough guy in Mataraji.
Sumadarji was tough, and I thought this was actually a very close fight. Yeah. Like I thought it was a very hotly contested fight. I thought Johnson won because he kept pushing the action, kept pushing forward, putting together strikes. Sumadarji was still pretty slick with his distance management and getting off his strikes as well. but I thought Johnson won it on aggression and greater volume of strikes being thrown by Johnson.
Yeah, good point. I love it. Jake Hadley was supposed to fight Brady Heastand. Heastand fell off, so they put in Cameron Smotherman. This was his first UFC debut after coming through the Dana White Contender Series. Finally got an opportunity. Hadley was heavily favored as well for this late replacement guy, but Smotherman ended up coming in, having a great performance, and looking like one of the happiest guys on the planet because he's finally got his opportunity in the UFC and did well doing so, getting out a really tough guy in Jake Hadley.
Yeah, he got out a really tough guy. I felt bad for Jake Hadley because the way that Smotherman fights and Heastand, who Hadley was supposed to fights, two different, completely different styles.
Yeah.
So I would say that Hadley was woefully unprepared for Smotherman. Yeah. Woefully unprepared for Smotherman. Wow. And he couldn't adapt quickly enough to the way that Smotherman fought. And I think it was to Smotherman's it was to his benefit that he was able to catch Hadley like this.
Yeah.
And that's why Smotherman won the fight, because I think Hadley was just not prepared to fight a guy of this like this. He was not prepared for that.
That's true. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, tough on Hadley. Yeah, most people talk about the guy coming in as being the one that, oh man, late replacement, having to be, having to make all these adjustments and having to be under the bright lights and all that. But yeah, a lot of people don't focus on that other guy who was, spent his whole entire training camp preparing for this one guy game plan, and then boom, within a day or two, boom, you have to switch, and there wasn't probably a lot of video of Smotherman, wasn't probably a lot of great information they could have got about him. So tough on Hadley, but great debut for Smotherman, got the win. The fight of the night, both 50K was given to my opinion, definitely the fight of the night. Darren the Damage Elkins against Daniel the Pit Pineda. I looked at this fight when I saw it on the roster or on the fight card and thought, this will be fight of the night. It lived up to the billing. Both these guys are two of the toughest SOBs you're ever going to meet in the world. We talked about that in the main event. This was even a next level in this one. And Darren Elkins, yeah, like tough to fight this guy because you can damage the hell out of him, beat him up super bad, and he's just going to keep coming and coming and coming. And he ends up getting the decision victory here. And he puts Pineda into retirement even.
Yeah, he put Pineda into retirement, but this was a great fight. It was a great fight. Pineda, I thought, had Elkins in trouble a couple of times with the guillotine locked up.
Wow.
But
Elkins,
so tight, but Elkins has a way of just continue to keep moving his body, continue to just give himself just enough air, and then eventually he wriggles out of it. And then he gets top position on top of that. Yeah. He even said that in the post-fight interview where it's like, I want you to take that guillotine so I can get that top position. I know how to get out of it.
Bring it on. Bring it up. Give it to me. Here we go.
And he proved it time and time again where I thought Pineda has him. He has him. But Elkins has that dog in him, has that fight. And you know that if you're in a fight with Darren the Damage Elkins, you're going to be in a fight for the whole the whole thing. Yeah. The whole thing. Yeah. You're going to be fighting. And Elkins wore him out. He won the fight like he always does. But I was really impressed with Pineda. Pineda brought it. It was a great fight, fantastic fight. It was a shame to see him retire because I think he still has a little bit left in him, but I understood why. I understood.
Yeah, amazing. These both guys, pushing 40. Pineda's 39 and Elkins is already 40. Both these guys have been in so many great wars, so many very memorable fights, and it's tough to see Pineda go. But glad he went out getting a bonus and goes out on a high with a really incredibly tough performance. And I can't say enough about that fight. Love both those guys, and good to see Elkins is continuing into his 40s and still getting victories. Okay, we have to blast through this prelims for sure. The Mateus Nicolau Asu Almabayev fight, great fight as well. Went to a decision. Almabayev ended up getting the nod. Um, I, I thought it was a just decision. 29-28 on all three judges. And yeah, this is another really tough guy. Asking for a title shot already, but he's on a 17 fight win streak. Absolutely incredible, and gave Nicolau all that he could handle.
Yeah, a little bit soon for like to ask for like a title shot. But anyways, he was very good. I thought these guys were very cautious of one another. There wasn't really a tremendous amount of strikes thrown throughout the entirety of this fight.
Yeah.
But for what was done, I thought Almabayev was the one to get off first. He was the one to do the more effective striking, won the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that first round was brutal. Just a filling out process. I think it was 4 minutes before Nicolau got his first actual counted strike in the fight. And yeah, there was not a lot of action. Only one takedown, one submission attempt, and yeah, it was just grind out. Both of them were really super worried and cautious, it looked like. Okay, the Brad Katona, love this Canadian guy. The only two-time winner of the Ultimate Fighter, came in, fought Jin Matsumoto. Another really great fight. This one was back and forth. I kind of thought it might get fight of the night until I saw the damage and the Pineda fight. But this one was awesome to watch. I loved both of them. Great round. They kind of just stood in the pocket and just traded, and a lot of really tough, hard shots. Great to see a good, very good battle.
Very good battle. I thought it was going to be a split decision win because this would have been one of those fights I would have been okay with that.
Right.
I thought that Katona was great at adapting his striking because he noticed that his striking wasn't effective in hurting Matsumoto enough. But when he started switching to the elbows, that actually super had an effect on Matsumoto.
True.
That's when I thought it was kind of dipping more towards Katona for that bit. I think that was the second round, but then Matsumoto came back. The one thing that was great with Matsumoto was he never accepted just taking hits. He always struck back immediately after. Yeah. So it was a very good, very close fight, but Matsumoto managed to just edge out Katona. Very close.
I had Katona winning it myself, but I wasn't like, oh, it was a robbery or anything. Because it was really super close. Very close fight. Matsumoto, look out for him. Still undefeated, 16-0. 25 years old. Bright future ahead for sure there. And yeah. 3 women's fights in a row. Not loving that.
I was gonna say, can we just go with the Edwards Vidal? That's the only one I really wanted to talk about. I thought Edwards was fantastic, even though she missed weight. And also too, looking at the size of Edwards, she may have to consider going up a division because she's pretty big for that division.
Right,
pretty big. So, but I thought she was absolutely fantastic. Her combos were great, kicks were great, her striking was fantastic. And even with her takedowns against Vidal, very good, great timing. Yeah, I thought it was a great win by Edwards.
Nice. Okay, just quickly, we need to talk about UFC 308. It's coming up this Saturday, very early, 7 a.m. Anybody here in the Pacific region? 7 a.m. prelim start, 11 a.m. main card. UFC 308. It's the 20th visit to Abu Dhabi, and has an amazing title fight on paper. It looks incredible. The champion, Ilya Topuria, sits at 15-0, won the belt in the featherweight division, UFC 298 in February over Alex Volkanovski. He's 7-0 in the UFC since his October 2020 debut. Max Holloway, number 2 ranked in the division, former champion, coming in off one of the greatest KOs of all time against Justin Gaethje of UFC 300. Holloway is one of the best fighters of all time. As I mentioned, former champ. His record's 26-7, but 3 losses to Volkanovski, who he could just never beat. That was his kryptonite. 2 to Poirier, and 1 to Conor McGregor. He fought and won the belt over the legendary Jose Aldo in 2017, become that undisputed featherweight champ. And I hope he does that point down to the middle again, and Topuria engages. They go toe to toe, and we see the best man win.
Poirier has already been on record to say, "I want to do that in the beginning of the first round."
Nice.
That okay? You want to do your point? We'll do the point right in the beginning of the first round. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, could be a quick fight then. Cool, do it. Because I think they both have the capacity to knock each other out.
Yeah.
Especially if it's been the beginning of the fight, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see if Topuria actually does it.
Yeah.
Like if he really actually does it, because he said he's gonna do it. All right. Because like we know Max Holloway will do it. I don't know if you're gonna do it.
We've seen him do it a few times, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope. Fingers
I hope
crossed
so.
we go toe to toe for a while. Hopefully it's not immediate knockout, but hopefully they go toe to toe, battle it out. The co-main should be awesome too. We've got a former champion and Robert Whitaker, the Reaper, Bobby Knuckles. He's also 26-7, like Max Holloway coming in. He's coming in on a 2-fight win streak. Beat Alaskarov, KO'd him in June. He was able to win the belt back in UFC 213. When GSP retired, he became the undisputed champion when he beat Yoel Romero. He faces Khamzat Chimaev, who was the busiest fighter early on, and then he got COVID, and then he got something else, and he had injuries and a lot of health troubles, really struggled with lots of issues. They were supposed to fight in June. He pulled out of this fight. Finally, it looks like it's going to happen. I think this could be one of the best fights of the year.
Yeah, because we both know this. They both bring it.
Yeah.
Chimaev's an absolute animal. What Robert Whitaker is definitely going to have to work on is his takedown defense, and he's going to have to work on that like a demon, because that's what Chimaev's going to try to do. He's going to try to take him down, and Whitaker's going to have his counters ready, knees up the middle, uppercuts, whatever will catch him as he's coming in for that shoot. Yep. So I agree with you. I think this has the capacity to be the fight of the night for sure. Yeah. For this co-main event.
That fight between 50K Dan Ige and Lerone Murphy should be great. 50K living up to his name. The Alexander Rakic, Magomed Ankalaev. Then we got the Bullet, Magomedov against Armin Petrosian to kick off the main card. RDA against Jeff Neal should be great. And then on and on and on, we got Nurmagomedov. He's fighting the cousin of Khabib. And we got Chris Barnett against Kennedy Ngachukwu. We got lots and lots and lots of amazing looking fights on this card. It should be a hell of a great card. And we get it out of the way early again. It'll be over very early on next Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great card. Where actually is the card for next Saturday?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. Okay. So now I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. And also, too, it's going to be out of the way pretty early. You're going to have the rest of your day and night to do whatever you want. Yeah, it's going to be done.
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah, can't wait. Speaking of over there in Saudi Arabia this weekend, they had the PFL big battle of the giants, and Francis Ngannou, the Predator, was able to dispatch Problema Henan Ferreira. Man, this was awesome to see. Become such a massive fan of Francis Ngannou over the years. Left the UFC in a contract dispute and battle, was able to get paid a shitload of money in boxing, and then he said, hey, I still love MMA. I still want to take on the top of the top. Fought a absolute massive killer and was able to get an incredible victory here. Was able to get a takedown early, went for ground and pound, was able to just start landing bombs from the back and was able to take out this giant and get another huge win. And I'm sure he got paid big time because it's in Saudi Arabia. They're willing to pay big money to put on these big events.
Okay, first thing I want to say, fantastic win by Francis Ngannou. I gotta mention this because somebody brought up to Dana White. It's like, well, it was probably best for Francis to go and do what he did because you were never going to pay him the amount of money that he actually has earned himself. Period. Never. That's what the interview. Dana's like, that's absolutely false. We could have paid him the same amount. I would go, for me, wow. I'm sorry, that's laughable. There is no freaking way within the amount of 3 fights I believe Francis has had between boxing and MMA. I think the guy's probably made like $40 million. Yeah, you're not paying him that. I'm just going to tell you that right now, Dana. There is no freaking way in 3 fights, if he had 3 title fights that he won, that he was defending his belt, that you're going to give him $40 million. That's never going to happen. So no, that's false. Secondly, he did the right thing. He took him down, and then he just smashed him out. By the way, I do want to say what a great ref that was. He made sure that man was out. Like, I thought he was out like 5 or 6 punches earlier, that he could have stepped in and said, I think that's enough. He's out. But he's just like, no, I need to see him go limp. I need to see him go limp. And once he went limp and then he took 2 more shots, that's when the ref said, okay, we got it. You're good.
that was Mergliotta, who's one of the best in the business. And he gave him, all the chances in the world. But the last 2 that actually put him out were in the back of the head, which I didn't love. But he was like, okay, he's not going out. No, he's not going out. No. And then, he's out. Okay, I'm rescuing him here. But because he just kept hitting him, but he kept getting his hands in the way. He wasn't just getting enough damage done. So then 2 right to the back of the dome, and that were the kill shots, and finally put him out. That's pretty wild. Made me laugh for sure.
It made me laugh because I'm like, Dad, at any point in time, I think I'd be cool if you just stopped it, man. But he's just like, nah, he's still moving a little bit. Still showing signs of life. Like,
no sign. There it is. I gotta make sure there's no sign of life. Then I'll step in here. That was crazy. He was turtled for a long time, getting a lot of damage, but he finally fell asleep, and that was it. So really good for Ngannou to actually honor his kid Kobe. He had some tears trying to choke out the words about honoring and dedicating this fight to his son, who tragically passed away at 15 months of age. He had a brain malformation that they didn't actually discover until he died. They took him to the hospital on a couple of occasions because he was losing consciousness. They attributed it to other things and said he was going to be fine. Ngannou actually ended up leaving the country and flying to training camp. And unfortunately, they hadn't detected this, and he passed away. And it rocked his world beyond belief. And he really wanted to do this and win to dedicate to his son and for his memory, and so he could say his name in the cage there. And he was named after Kobe Bryant as well, who died tragically too early too. So I was happy that he got that ability to do so.
Yeah, I'm happy that he had the ability to do that as well. Quite tragic. Everything that's happened, everything that he's had to persevere and go through. But he's an incredible human being, and he's a very, very strong individual, as we've seen from his story, his past, and everything that he's gone through. He's a survivor, and he'll continue on.
What would you put the chances of him ever fighting in the UFC ever again? What would you put
0
the percentage? Do you think 0? Yeah.
No, first off, talking about Dana White here, right? Yeah, 0, man. No. Like I'm sorry, like even like because I know PFL has been trying to poke the bear a little bit, because like even when Kayla Harrison was fought Vieira, then they were kind of, I don't know, they did something where they showed Kayla Harrison's loss to whoever she lost to in the
Larissa
PFL,
Pacheco, yeah,
Larissa Pacheco and stuff like that. And Dana doesn't like that. He's an extremely competitive person, and also too, he loves putting people in their place, which is, you're underneath us along with everybody else. I don't care.
yeah.
I don't care what you have to say. I don't care.
Yeah.
So with that being said, no chance. Zero of zero chances.
It's too bad. It's really too bad because imagine how massive of a fight John Jones versus Francis Ngannou would be. It would just be the biggest MMA fight of all time, and it would move the needle. He might be able to get $20 million for one of those fights, and it's just too bad that sometimes the egos have to get in the way like this.
Of course, we've seen it in boxing. More than a couple of times, decades upon decades. It always happens.
Yeah.
And it would be great to see a fight like that. But let's be honest here again. Do you think there's a possibility that John Jones has even another fight after the Stipe fight, or he retires?
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, it seems like he's thinking of this as being the last fight in his career too. It doesn't seem like he wants anything to do with Aspinall, and he just wants it to be his swan song too. And I would have thought that at some point Jones would come out and start being cocky and start calling out Aspinall, "I'll kick your butt too" and stuff. But it seems like he just wants Stipe, and then we ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because I keep hearing the same thing over and over from him. So I think he's like, no, I've made enough money. I'm kind of done. And then also too, when he was in that one interview, I think I told you about that before, where he was talking about always having headaches in his 20s because he was suffering from like consecutive concussion syndrome all the time. Jeez. I think that right there told me he's done.
He's done, yeah.
Done, man.
Right. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also had two other fights on the card. I guess you only saw the main event.
Just saw the main event.
The Chris Cyborg, Larissa Pacheco, we just mentioned. Absolutely awesome fight. Two of the toughest, most incredible women fighters on the planet went toe to toe. These girls are both just unbelievably jacked and just full of testosterone and probably steroids and lots of stuff. And it was brutal. These two just beat the living heck out of each other. It was pretty damn awesome. And a pretty cool crowning achievement moment for Cyborg. She got to put a belt around her waist in the 5th organization in MMA. Incredible. She said she wants to fight at least a couple more times into her 20th year. She's been fighting MMA professionally for 19 years. I don't know who she wants to fight. She didn't say, but 2 more fights she thinks she wants. This one was awesome. A hell of a battle. I can't believe she ended up winning it because she was bruised, battered, beat up, bleeding from everywhere, beyond belief cuts, and it was a great, one of my favorite women's fights of all time.
Now, did she win, in your humble opinion?
Yeah, I thought she did.
Okay,
yeah.
She did win. Okay. I think I did see a little bit of highlights from that. Cyborg didn't look like a winner. That's what I saw. She was, I think both her eyes were almost shut.
Yeah. No, it was, to me, it was like 48-47. I thought she won 3 rounds to 2. The rounds that Pacheco beat her, she really battered her, and the cuts were enormous. We're closing her eyes. The blood was coming from so many places on her, but no, I think legitimately she won 3 rounds. Pacheco won 2. But holy crap, both of them just firefight, throwing, just landing, unreal, just unreal women's fight. It really looked like 2 dudes going at it, but it was a really good battle for a women's belt, and both of them should be very proud of their performance. Both of them were, awesome in throwing as much as they could at each other. And yeah, I thought Cyborg did deserve to, get the belt.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's fantastic. Up, what weight category do they fight at? 145 or 155?
It's 145. Yeah, 145.
Okay, because I know this. They're not fighting at 135 because 145, that's the weight that Kayla Harrison should be fighting at.
Yeah,
because
sure. Yeah.
I am telling you right now, like she had more complications due to her fight before.
Yeah.
The 135, I think that 135 is killing her. I honestly do.
There's a woman in the PFL that was trying to fight on this card, and the weight cut actually ended up putting her into a coma. She's in the hospital right now in a coma induced state.
That's the worry, man. Like you kill yourself doing that.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful. And like there has to be at some point in time where you're just like, you know what, I can't do this safely. I just can't. You got to be real with yourself. And I think that goes for every fighter out there. You got to be real with yourself and be like, what's the worth if you can't fight or if you put yourself in a coma and you almost die.
Yeah. No, it's bad. And when Amanda Nunes was around, they had that division, and then when she left, they
left
it. And
blew it up.
It seems super dumb for the UFC to do this. And I've had enough of these health issues, and if this girl doesn't get out of her coma and actually passes away, like, it might make some changes to the sport, because we haven't had as far as I remember, we haven't had deaths. But Kayla Harrison ended up in the hospital over this. Last one, this girl into a coma. It's getting to be a situation where we can't have this anymore.
No, absolutely, man. Because fighters are gonna fight. That's what they do. It's in their DNA. All right, like even if they have to fight their own body, they're gonna fight. Yeah. Sometimes you need to protect the person. You need to protect the athlete by putting in certain regulations, rules that they got to follow, guidelines. Yeah. It helps the sport and it helps everybody else.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I sure hope they can figure that out, because it's not good. Yeah. They had a third fight, a title fight on this card as well. Johnny Eblin, still undefeated, 16-0, 9-3 in Bellator. He got this as I think this is considered actually the Bellator middleweight title fight, even though PFL owns them now and stuff. But he unfortunately grinds out way too many decisions, and doesn't have these spectacular KOs. But I think he's just one of the greatest middleweights in the world. And this was a heck of a good battle as well. He ended up getting a unanimous decision in that. And the card was good. I watched it from top to bottom. A lot of good battles on this card, and I think PFL should be happy. They got a great amount of fighters on their roster. Because of Francis Ngannou being there, it put a lot of eyeballs on them, and I think it really bodes well for a lot of fighters making a lot of money. Pacheco came in. She had won the tournament 2 times already coming in, and had won $1 million on both those fights, as the bonus, and not even counting her salary and everything. So there is money to be had, and the more popularity, the better. And I think it was great to see Ngannou shed so much light onto these fighters and giving them an opportunity. And it was awesome in Saudi Arabia. They put on an absolutely fantastic event, as well as always. They just get the fights going. They really know how to put on a proper event with not a lot of crap in between that you don't want to see, that drags out it way too long. It was awesome. They put on a great event.
Okay, that's good. That's great to see. That's great to hear. And the fact that it's more about like the fights and then getting it going, not like the build up or the storylines. Sometimes that's cool, but for the most part, for us hardcore fans, we just want to see the fights.
Let's put on the
fights, man.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, we had a marathon one, but we had lots to cover. It was an awesome weekend of sports. I had a great time. I'm glad the atmospheric river was out there, because it didn't make me guilty. for not leaving the house. I walked out the door today to get in my car and thought, hey, I don't think I've been outside in like 3 days. This is kind of bizarre. But yeah, glad we could do this early and we can get at the Monday night football games. Both of them are going to be great. And good luck tomorrow. Hope your meeting goes really well. And let me know how what shakes down from it.
No, I will for sure. It's always been a pleasure. I'm glad we were able to get this marathon done and enjoy the game. I know I will.
Okay, thanks, bud. Cheers. Have a great one. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon.
Okay, well, that was awesome as always. But yeah, marathon one. Thanks for sticking right to the end. You rock. You guys are the best fans in the world. Love your engagement with us. Thanks for all your likes, your subscriptions, your questions, answers, or questions, comments, all the things that you're doing. Really appreciate it a ton, and hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it. I want to thank our partners and sponsors as always. You know who you are, and we want to end it on a high note. What an awesome weekend of sports, and holy cow, we got a great week ahead. We got the NFL games tonight. We got the NBA starting up tomorrow. We got the NHL already in full swing. We got the NFL. We got an amazing UFC card coming up on Saturday. If you're a fan of sports, how can it get any better? Life is beautiful. So love you guys lots. Take care of yourself and have an awesome week ahead. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.